You are a young man, a talentless good-for-nothing with no cultivation to speak of, yet you command the reverence of countless peerless experts, who tremble at the thought of displeasing you, lest you reveal some forgotten secret from their past and shatter their Tao heart beyond repair. This is because you have transmigrated as the master of the Heavenly Secret Pavilion. Regardless of whose dark history it may be, you can see through it with a single glance. Thus, in your moments of idle boredom, you casually remark upon the private lives of those who claim to be the greatest powerhouses throughout the ages, resulting in total chaos. Looking at the grand masters of the immortal Tao kneeling before you, weeping like grown men who have lost all composure, you are left stunned, thinking, I barely said a word. Why have you all suffered a mental collapse so easily? 3 days ago, I was a fresh university graduate, never understanding how I transmigrated into this fantasy world only to be bound to a heavenly secret system. So long as one remains within the Heavenly Secret Pavilion, whether it be a stray dog passing by or a supreme master at the peak of power, I can see through their past and future to the very core, but to peek into the heavenly secrets outside of this domain, I must pay a price. It requires spending heavenly secret points. This wretched system shop truly possesses everything. Divine techniques, medicinal elixirs, and even the secrets of the earth itself can be purchased. The prerequisite, of course, is that I must have the funds. The land upon which I currently stand is a ruin once raised by the desolate emperor. The system has stated clearly, within the pavilion I am invincible, outside the pavilion I am an emperor. I invite the host to quickly accumulate heavenly secret points. Do not be a coward hiding in a shell. I am currently sullen, wondering how to attract my first customer. Suddenly, earth-shattering movements erupt from outside. Boom! 2 streaks of light crash down like meteors before the entrance, and as the dust clears, a young woman stands there, her face filled with fury, glaring at the effeminate man standing opposite her. Mo Yannian, that karmic fire will soon consume you. You would be better off following me. The effeminate Li Yun laughs with a lecherous glint in his eyes. We shall cultivate together. You keep your life, and I ascend to immortality. It is a bargain of a lifetime. Lian, if you dare touch me, are you not afraid that the Yaoqi Holy Land will declare total war upon your yin-yang harmony sect? Once I have drained you dry, I will transcend the mortal realm to become a saint's son. By then, who will care about a deceased saintess? Li Yun lets out a sinister laugh and strikes without hesitation. Seeing that my business at the doorstep is about to be interrupted, I have no choice but to clear my throat. Those who resort to violence before the Heavenly Secret Pavilion shall perish. My voice is not loud, yet it resonates with an ethereal and hollow power. Both of them froze in their tracks. Li Yun glanced around and let out a cold laugh. Where did this pretender emerge from? I have never followed rules when I act. Boom! Demonic energy erupted, and he lunged once more toward Mo Yannian. Yet before this brother could take another step, his entire body collapsed onto the ground. He looked down in terror, watching as his legs dissolved into countless motes of light. He opened his mouth to scream, but not a single sound could escape his throat. Seconds later, he had vanished from the world entirely. Mo Yannian watched, her scalp tingling with fear, and only once Li Yun had completely disappeared did she suppress her trembling. This junior is merely passing by. I had no intention of causing offense. I smoothed out my white robes, clutched an old book, and stepped out, adopting the demeanor of an otherworldly expert. You? Are you the expert? Her legs went weak, and she knelt down immediately. I thank you for your mercy just now, senior. I beg for your forgiveness. Please spare my life. It is of no consequence. I do not care for idle chatter. My gaze remained fixed upon her. To be precise, I was observing her. The system alerted me that Mo Yannian was seeking an extreme yin location to sustain her life. As soon as those words left my lips, she jerked her head up, her eyes nearly bulging from their sockets. How could you possibly know that? I smiled but remained silent. I gestured toward the sign behind me. She followed my gaze, reading the couplets in a daze before her eyes finally rested upon the plaque. TNG Pavilion. I do not eat people. I only conduct business. The moment she stepped through the door, the peculiar Tao aura immediately suppressed the karmic fire raging within her. The way she looked at me had changed completely, as if she were staring at an immortal. While pretending to brew tea, I called up the dashboard. Name Mo Yannian, strength, affiliation Yaoqi Sacred Land, physique 9 yin profound body. She is currently enduring the 9th karmic fire backlash. Current status, the karmic fire backlash is temporarily stabilized. She must locate an extreme yin location to awaken. The 9 yin profound body is required to root out the karmic fire completely. Tap to expand. Basic information is free to view. Future inquiries will require payment. Senior, she began, unable to sit still, desperate to ask where such an extreme yin location could be found, but I answered her before she could speak. Mo Yannian was trembling with excitement. The 9 yin profound body is formidable indeed, but those 9 backlashes before awakening are truly lethal. To survive, you must find a location of extreme yin, where extreme cold and extreme heat coexist. I beg Senior to guide this lost soul. Guide you, and where is the payment for such guidance? TNG Pavilion conducts business with integrity. Nothing is ever given for free. She was momentarily stunned, then hurriedly withdrew a sword. This is a superior grade spiritual artifact. Is it enough? I cast a glance at it, discovering that a superior grade spiritual artifact was worth only 100 heavenly secrets points. Was this truly all it was worth? System, how much is required to query that location? To query the location of the yin extremity requires 3,000 heavenly secrets points. Host, you lack sufficient Heavenly Secrets points to perform the query. I look toward her. Young lady, this is the main cause of your karmic backlash. This information is a divination that will save your life. Revealing the secrets of heaven forces me to endure the backlash of the heavenly Tao as well. Do you understand my meaning? Senior, as long as I can survive, I will return later with the elders of my sect and bring generous gifts to thank you in person. Moyanyan knelt on one knee. That was more like it. What I required was a steady stream of patrons from the Yaoqi sacred land. I accepted the spiritual artifact, exchanged it for points via the system, and queried the location of the Yin extremity. It lay in the Wushan Valley, 3,200 miles away, concealed by a natural entrapment formation. Methods to break the formation. Tap to view details. The Great Elder of the Bingshuan sect will arrive at Wushan Valley in 7 days to absorb the cold spring spiritual fluid. I recorded all the information onto a jade slip before looking up at Mo Yanyan. In consideration of you being the first guest of the Tianji Pavilion, I will grant you an exception. You may pay the debt later. The information regarding the Yin extremity is contained right here. Mo Yanyan took the jade slip and tucked it into her robes as if she had recovered a priceless treasure. Many thanks, Senior. Remember, you have only 7 days. If you cannot awaken your 9-yin profound physique within these 7 days, not even the Immortals can save you. Whether you live or die is a matter of your own fortune. I shall say no more. With a flick of my sleeve, I cast her directly out of the Tianji Pavilion. Once this solitary guest had departed, I immediately summoned the system. System, go all in, use everything to enhance my strength. The Heavenly Secrets points immediately returned to 0, and shortly thereafter a warm surge washed over my entire body. It was so comfortable I nearly let out a cry. Host Suyu, Strength 5th Stage Qi Pavilion. I clenched my fist, feeling my strength surge. This deal was well worth it. It is a pity that customers are so scarce. It would be ideal if more fools like Li Yun or ancient monsters who have lived for countless years could arrive. Such people would undoubtedly be overflowing with wealth. Division of Realms, the 5 mortal realms. Qi Refining Foundation Establishment 5 Viscera Vast Sea Dao Pal. The 5 immortal mortal realms. Dharma Manifestation Tribulation Divine Treasury Saint Realm. 3 realms, Saint King and Supreme Emperor Realm. Earthly Realm, Heavenly Realm, Immortal Emperor. 3 days had passed in the blink of an eye. Through the monitoring system, I observed that Mu Yanyan had successfully infiltrated the Wushan realm. This girl possesses considerable luck. She truly discovered that Yin extreme location and is currently enveloped in a cocoon of light, leveling up frantically. I too have not been idle, for a prominent figure has just arrived outside the Heavenly Secret Pavilion. Rumble. Demonic energy, enough to blot out the heavens and cover the earth, suddenly descended. The previously clear sky darkened instantly by half. An old man clad in black robes arrived by stepping through the void. His aura was so oppressive that the surrounding mountain range trembled. Who killed my disciple? Li Yun. The old man roared like thunder, the shockwaves causing the very air to vibrate. He reached out to grasp the air, sniffing the lingering scent of Li Yun. It was at this moment, the very next second, that he took a single step, landing directly before the entrance of the Heavenly Secret Pavilion, where he caught sight of the poetic couplet inscribed upon the doors. The old man let out a cold laugh. Such arrogance. Even the great emperor of Lanling would not dare to boast in such a manner. He strode into the pavilion, his eyes immediately falling upon me as I pretended to read a book. Boy, have you seen anyone from the Yaoqi sacred land? I slowly closed my book and raised my head to look at him. The system panel immediately manifested. Peak Dharma Manifestation Realm, Affiliation. Yin-Yang Joyous Union Sect, Techniques. Heavenly Demon Soul Devouring Art, Heaven Seizing Blood Path, Freedom Heavenly Demon Divine Ability, 6 Desires Demonic God / Truly commendable, a peak Dharma Manifestation Realm cultivator. This old man is a far more lucrative harvest than Mu Yanyan. If I were to reap this harvest, how many Heavenly Secret points could I acquire? Seeing that I did not utter a word, Mo Yun's gaze turned frigid. This old man is asking you a question. Are you deaf? I closed the book completely and offered a standard professional smile. I have indeed seen those from Yaoqi, and as for Li Yun, I killed him. A terrifying surge of demonic energy instantly erupted from his body, his killing intent coalescing into a near-tangible form. Yet he did not strike immediately. The old fox stared intently at me, his eyes filled with suspicion. Perhaps finding my composure unnerving, he hesitated to make a move. It was clear that my fluctuations were only at the Qi refining stage, yet I dared to provoke him openly. The old man suspected a trap. He was caught in the web of his own imagination. Watching his conflicted expression, I could not help but suppress a smirk. Who exactly are you? And why did you kill my beloved disciple? He could no longer restrain his curiosity, but I replied, if you want to know, it will cost you. Mo Yun was stunned. The Tianji Pavilion operated on the principle of fair exchange. If you have the spirit stones, you can learn anything. Mo Yun's facial muscles twitched as he let out a laugh born of pure rage. You kill my unfilial disciple, and yet you have the audacity to demand money from me? You have quite the nerve. Clang! He slammed a longsword onto the table. Is a middle-grade spirit weapon enough to purchase an answer? I expertly claimed the sword and replied, I am Su Yu, master of the Tianji Pavilion. This blade only pays for this exchange. If you wish to know the reason for his death, that will be a separate price. Veins bulged on Mo Yun's forehead. Gritting his teeth, he tossed a glowing red orb onto the table. It is a high-grade spirit artifact. Tell me everything and be done with it. I immediately converted the orb into system points. I spoke calmly. The TNG Pavilion forbids fighting, yet your disciple insisted on breaking my rules. Since he refused to listen, I had no choice but to send him on his way. That is all. Mo Yun's eyes nearly bulged from their sockets. Because of such a trivial matter? Are you mocking me? Boom! A phantom manifestation of a demon god instantly coalesced behind him, its massive hands exuding an oppressive pressure that crashed toward me like a tidal wave. Either you explain yourself clearly or I will scour your soul. You are threatening me? I remained seated, not moving an inch. And what if I am? The old man's words were cut short, for in that instant I exercised the supreme authority of the TNG Pavilion. It was but a single word, yet it reverberated with the force of heaven's will, and an indescribable, overwhelming pressure descended from the heavens. Before Mo Yun could even let out a scream, his so-called demon god manifestation shattered instantly. He spat out a mouthful of blood, his body pinned to the floor like a dying cur, unable to move a muscle. In this moment, the fury in his eyes finally gave way to absolute, bone-chilling terror. Are you a saint or a master of the Earth realm? I walked before him, looking down from above. You were the first to dare raise a hand against me within these walls to challenge the secrets of heaven. Senior, please spare me. This junior was blind and failed to recognize a true master. It is too late. I pressed my palm into the empty air. Boom, Mo Yun's soul vanished in an instant. He was utterly extinguished. I casually flicked my wrist to retrieve his storage ring, emptying every last bit of his lifelong fortune into my hands. The system calculated a total of 16,000 Heavenly Secret points. A fortune has been made. As expected, killing and pillaging remains the fastest way to accumulate wealth. Ding. The host has sufficient budget. Will you consume 10,000 Heavenly Secret points to activate the Heavenly Secret Ranking function? The Heavenly Secret Ranking can gather information on all things in the world and organize them into a hierarchy. Once announced to the world, my prestige will surely ascend. The greatest challenge for the Heavenly Secret Pavilion at present is its lack of reputation. Aside from the fiends Li Yun and Mo Yun, only Mu Yannian knows of its existence. If I establish a ranking and publish it, fame will follow. And won't those fat sheep come lining up to offer their wealth later? Open it. 10,000 Heavenly Secret points deducted. Please select a ranking category. Prodigy Ranking, Beauty Ranking, Spiritual Treasure Ranking, or Saint Ranking. Setting up a continent-wide Prodigy Ranking requires 5 million Heavenly Secret points. Setting up an Eastern Wasteland Prodigy Ranking requires 50,000 Heavenly Secret points. Setting up a Mongguang Region Prodigy Ranking requires 5,000 Heavenly Secret points. My current capital is only enough for the basic version. Set up the Mongguang Region Prodigy Ranking. As soon as the words left my lips, a golden screen slowly expanded into the void, with names manifesting one by one upon it. First place, Chen Anji, Realm Peak Xuanling Faction, Heavenly Sword Holy Land. Second place, Ye Xingxian, Realm Peak Xuanling Faction, Kangwu Holy Land. Third place, Lu Tiran, Realm Mid-Stage Xuanling Faction, Kangwu Holy Land. 10th place, Zhenxing, Mortal Faction, Qinglong Temple. 13th place, Chen Beishuan, Realm, Wufu Realm Faction, Rogue Cultivator. A total of 100 names in all. If this list were to be released, the entire Mongguang region would surely erupt in chaos. Publish it immediately. The name of the list shall be the Mongguang Prodigy Ranking. I glanced at Mo Yun's corpse on the ground and conceived a plan, casually hanging his body outside the door. Display Mo Yun, who was infamous throughout the Mongguang region. The death of this elder will firstly establish the prestige and authority of the Heavenly Secret Pavilion, and secondly, increase the reach of the Heavenly Secret Ranking. It is truly killing two birds with one stone. As I spoke, a streak of golden light shot out from the Heavenly Secret Pavilion, piercing the 9 layers of clouds. Shortly after, the entire Mongguang region was thrown into a violent frenzy. In the middle of the plains, a massive heaven-piercing monument rose from the earth. The 3 characters' Heavenly Secret Ranking shimmered with divine power. But the most shocking sight was the corpse hanging at the top of the monument, the very same unfortunate elder I had just suppressed and killed. This event has left the entire cultivation world in complete disarray. The elders of the Heavenly Sword Holy Land furrowed their brows as they stared at the ranking. It was one thing that their own holy son was at the top, but who was this Chen Beishuan in 13th place? A mere rogue cultivator dares to overshadow the monks of the Qinglong Temple were left in a state of utter bewilderment. Are you implying that he is the one ranked on the list? That mere janitor from the Miscellaneous Affairs Division? What kind of absurdity is this? Meanwhile, the sect that had its elder's corpse displayed in public was driven to madness by fury, vowing to raze my Tianji pavilion to the ground. The disciples of the goddess palace wore the most unsightly expressions, for I had exposed the secret treasures they had kept hidden for so long. To think that Mu Yannian, ranked 48th, would have her secrets exposed by the detestable Tianji pavilion while she was in a critical stage of awakening, is this not merely an act born of jealousy? In an instant, the sounds of skepticism and vitriol echoed across the Mongguang territory. Everyone was convinced that this ranking was a complete fabrication on my part. After all, placing a mortal above established cultivators was inherently unreasonable, yet regardless of the criticism, the reputation of the Tianji Pavilion had officially spread far and wide. At this very moment, the true protagonist, Mu Yannian, was risking her life within the fallen god Ridge. Must admit, this woman is truly ruthless. As the 7-day deadline arrived, she had drained the spiritual essence of the ice and fire spirit spring until not a single drop remained. Boom! 2 pillars of light, one crimson and one ivory, soared straight into the heavens. She snapped her eyes open as her cultivation base surged violently. The ice-fire profound spirit body had awakened, propelling her into the immortal mortal realm. Yet before she could revel in her success, a terrifying pressure, heavy as a shroud of storm clouds, descended upon her. This aura belonged to the old monster of the Ice Profound sect. Muyanian immediately recalled my warning, and cold sweat began to pour down her back. Had she been even a step slower, she would have been captured and refined into a cauldron for cultivation. The senior was indeed a master of divine calculations. Not daring to delay, she transformed into a streak of light and fled desperately toward the TNG Pavilion. The great elder of the Ice Profound sect arrived just in time, only to gaze upon the now desiccated spirit spring. He was so enraged that he nearly detonated on the spot. "A fine job, you little girl from the goddess palace," he hissed. "You dare to snatch the fortuitous encounter intended for this old man?" With murderous intent boiling in his veins, the old man tore through the void in pursuit, swearing that even if she fled to the ends of the earth, she would not escape death. Half an hour later, Muyanian narrowly reached the Mongwang Plains. Gazing up at the towering Heavenly Secret Ranking monolith, her heart trembled with profound shock. Is this too a masterpiece created by the senior? Just as she prepared to rush into the TNG Pavilion, a thick wall of ice manifested before her. Blocking her path was a youth in brocade robes, staring at her with a sullen, malevolent expression. I am quite familiar with this individual. He is ranked 49th on the Heaven's Pride ranking. Yang Yun of the Ice Profound sect. Since Muyanian has encountered him here, it is time to settle the score. No content to translate. Yang Yun pointed at the stone tablet and gave a cold laugh. On what basis are you ranked 48th? And I am ranked 49th. As a Heaven's Pride of the Bingshuan sect, am I to be at the very bottom of the immortal mortal realm rankings? The surrounding cultivators, who had rushed over to watch the commotion, immediately grew excited. Look there, those Heaven's Prides whose rankings are neck and neck are about to clash. Yang Yun stepped forward, closing the distance with a look of utter disdain. This TNG Pavilion only knows how to act mysterious, establishing such a piece of trash ranking board just to humiliate this young master. Today I will cripple you and then smash this wretched tablet to pieces. Upon hearing this, Muyanian's eyes immediately turned icy. That person was her savior, and even more so, the mentor who gave her a new lease on life. How could she allow someone else to insult him? Do you dare to show disrespect toward the senior? What senior? I see only a clown who enjoys putting on a charade. Yang Yun retorted sarcastically. This is a provocation. What now? Are you not satisfied? You dare to insult the senior. Muyanian let out a sharp cry, her eyes erupting with killing intent as her ice and fire energies flared. She charged forward immediately. Boom, the two collided instantly, and the shockwave sent the crowd of onlookers reeling. Although Muyanian had just achieved a breakthrough and possessed a formidable constitution, Yang was, after all, a veteran powerhouse. The disparity became evident from the very first exchange. Someone in the crowd cried out in shock, "Look, Muyanian has fallen into a disadvantage. She can only defend passively." A terrifying freezing aura exploded in the air, instantly forming a domain of ice and snow. Yang Yun's figure moved like a phantom, shifting in and out of sight, forcing Muyanian to retreat continuously. "Now do you understand the gap between us?" Looking down from above, Yang Yun spoke in a mocking tone. "With just this meager ability, you still dare to claim a higher ranking than me?" Yet Muyanian did not panic. Instead, the corners of her lips curled into a strange smile. "You are smiling. You are on the verge of death, and you still have the nerve to smile?" Yang Yun's heart suddenly tightened. With a soft cry, the ice-fire profound spirit body was unleashed. Between Muyanian's brows, a glowing rune of intertwined red and white appeared. Two completely opposing forces of ice and fire were perfectly fused together, was erupting frantically within her body. Crack, the domain of ice and snow that Yang Yun had proudly promised was shattering into fragments like glass. The crowd watched in absolute terror at the girl suspended in midair. On one side was absolute frost, on the other was raging inferno, and behind her a pair of ice-fire wings slowly flapped. This is an awakening? Yang Yun screamed in disbelief. How could this be? This is something even the Divine Maiden Palace does not know. How could the Heavenly Secret Pavilion have foreseen it? In that moment, a chill ran down everyone's spine. To have predicted today 4 days ago, just who or what is this Heavenly Secret Pavilion? Muyanian did not grant them time for astonishment. Her wings pulsed, and she instantly teleported before Yang Yun. Block it for me. With 6 layers of the frozen profound shield, Yang Yun was terrified to the point of losing his soul. He desperately unleashed his strongest defense, but in the face of her awakened form, all of these measures were as fragile as paper. Thwack! The ice-fire spear descended with overwhelming force, piercing through the 6 layers of ice shields and driving straight into Yang Yun's chest. Cough! Yang Yun vomited a mouthful of blood and was sent flying backward like a cannonball, slamming into the earth. Half crippled on the spot, you cannot even withstand a single blow. Muyanian spoke these cold words and was about to descend to finish him off when her expression suddenly shifted. A pressure that made the soul tremble was rapidly closing in. The old monster had caught up. She dared not delay, turning to flee toward the Heavenly Secret Pavilion with all her might. The moment she departed, an aged figure descended upon the scene. The great elder of the Ice Profound sect, Bing Yuanzi, glanced at the gasping Yang Yun, casually dispersed the remnants of the flames, and locked his gaze onto the massive stone tablet. The Heavenly Secret Ranking, this is somewhat interesting. In the next second, his figure vanished, bolting directly in the direction of the fleeing Muyanyan. At that same moment, the entire Wild Abyss region was shaken by this stone tablet. When the results of the duel between the prodigies spread, everyone realized with horror that the outcome was identical to the rankings predicted. Even the sweeping monk ranked at the end had truly used a single palm technique descending from the heavens to defeat the genius of the Holy Land. They were all right. They were all actually correct. This Heavenly Secret Ranking is truly miraculous. Inside the Heavenly Secret Pavilion, I stood at the entrance, looking at the system notifications with satisfaction. The Heavenly Secret Ranking has been successfully crafted. The host's invincibility range has increased by another 100 miles. It seems that the greater the reputation, the wider my territory will become. As I was lost in thought, Muyanyan was being pursued by Bing Yuanzi, and her spiritual energy was on the verge of exhaustion. Note: this individual is the primary spokesperson recommended for reward by the Heavenly Mystery Pavilion. She is here to seek help from a senior. Upon landing, Muyanyan collapsed to the ground, her complexion as pale as a sheet of paper. Without a word, I merely waved my hand. The spiritual energy within my invincible domain flooded into her body, instantly restoring her to peak condition. Her eyes widened, her face filled with utter disbelief. Just then, an overwhelming pressure characteristic of a tribulation transcendent stage expert rumbled toward us, halting only 100 miles away. Senior, be careful. That is an old monster from the Ice Profound sect. Please, remain calm. I manifested a tea set and sat down leisurely pouring a cup of tea. Seeing my composure, the heavy stone in Muyanyan's heart fell, and she obediently stepped into the role of a handmaiden. At this moment, Bing Yuanzi, a formidable tribulation transcendence expert, stood 100 miles away, hesitant. His instinct for danger was exceptionally sharp. The area ahead gave him a sensation of extreme peril, as if taking a single step forward would plunge him into an abyss. What is the matter? Elder Bing, you have traveled such a great distance. Will you not come closer and share a cup of tea? My voice was not loud, yet it echoed clearly in his ears. Bing Yuanzi's pupils constricted. He had been discovered, and to continue hiding would be a great loss of face. Gritting his teeth, he took a single step and appeared before me. Who exactly are you? Su Yu, a merchant, I replied, gesturing toward the chair opposite me. This display of creating objects out of thin air made his eyelids twitch uncontrollably. Are you a saint? He asked cautiously, his heart pounding like a drum. I am neither a saint nor any sort of deity. I looked at him with a faint smile. I am merely a shopkeeper. Bing Yuanzi was startled, struck with terror. Could this person read his thoughts? The dread of being seen through entirely made even a powerhouse of the tribulation transcendent stage feel as though he were sitting on pins and needles. After a long silence, he spoke carefully. Senior, with such heaven-defying cultivation, why remain in such an unremarkable place? Why not visit our Ice Profound sect as an honored guest? We would surely treat you with the highest reverence. Is he trying to recruit me? A clever calculation, indeed. I raised my teacup and looked at him with an inscrutable, half-smiling expression. I have no intention of going to the Ice Profound sect. After all, the ancient ice vein your sect relies upon for survival is unlikely to last even a few more days, is it? As soon as I finished speaking, Bing Yuanzi's body trembled, his eyes wide with absolute shock. He gripped the teacup in his hand so tightly that it shattered, the tea spilling over his palm and soaking his robes. While Bing Yuanzi remained stunned, the system interface before me laid bare every detail of his existence. Name: Bing Yuanzi. Cultivation: early stage 8 of the Tribulation Transcendence Realm. Affiliations: Bingshuan Sect, Spirit Treasures, Blue Moon Ice Blade, Rui Water, and the Supreme Heavenly Primordial Water. Current status: his ancient ice meridian is nearing exhaustion, and he is desperately seeking a fated opportunity to sustain his life force. I felt a surge of triumph. Here was another massive catch, far wealthier than the late Mo Yun. Elder Bing, do not be so agitated. I flicked my finger, and the frantic, chaotic energy swirling around him instantly dissipated. The tea in his cup began to boil once more. This display of effortless mastery left Bing Yuanzi utterly terrified. Senior, do you truly know about the depletion of the ice meridian? His voice trembled. This is the sect's most guarded secret. Apart from the decrepit elders nearing their end, no one knows of this. If this were to be revealed, the Bingshuan sect would be torn apart by hostile factions in an instant. I have said it before. There is nothing that the Heavenly Mystery Pavilion does not know. I looked at him with an inscrutable smile. The fear of being seen through left him unable to sit still. Yanran, see our guest out, I commanded suddenly. Mu Yanran stood stunned. In business, one usually focuses on securing the deal. If Elder Bing does not trust me, there is no need to force the matter. I lifted my teacup, my expression as calm as flowing water and drifting clouds. This tactic of playing hard to get was old, but when dealing with a desperate old man, it proved effective every single time. As expected, Bing Yuanzi panicked. With his sect facing life and death, he dared not gamble. Senior, please wait.
It was I who acted rashly.
Gritting his teeth, he produced a single drop of jet black water. This is the Heavenly Primordial Water. A single drop can transform into a vast sea. Please accept this as a token of my apology. I beg you, Senior, reveal the path to salvation. Ding, detected. God-tier spirit treasure. Exchangeable for 8,000 Heavenly Mystery Points. Nearly the entire net worth of the late Mo Yun. I was jubilant, yet maintained a nonchalant facade as I accepted the item. You wish to mend your ice meridian? I beg for your guidance, Senior. It is simple, I said, offering no further elaboration. Yanran, standing to the side, immediately grasped my intention, adopting a cold, indifferent expression to serve as the voice of the price. Elder Bing, the rules of the Heavenly Mystery Pavilion are absolute. Every piece of information carries a price. Bing Yuanzi understood at once. May I ask how much is required? I wondered silently. System, what are the costs? The Sacred Land opportunity is 30 million points. The Extreme Northern Region opportunity is 8 million points. Looking at that daunting string of zeros, my eyelids twitched involuntarily. These options were either prohibitively expensive or far too dangerous. If I were to reveal such things, I would likely be struck dead by divine lightning the moment I stepped outside. Until I reached the final line. The bamboo dragon seed requires 8,000 heavenly secret points. I shall select it. For the 3 drops of primordial heavenly water, I set an extortionate price, 24,000 points. After deducting the base cost, that's a net profit of 16,000. A deal that cannot lose, leaving Bing Yuanzi pale with dread. Senior, regarding the primordial heavenly water, I have only that single drop, but I still possess 4 tribulation-grade spirit treasures. Take a look, Elder. These 4 tribulation-grade spirit treasures are valued at 15,000 points. I gave him a deep, meaningful look, Elder. Compared to the lives of the tens of thousands within your sect, what do these mere worldly possessions matter? With his perspective broadened, Bing Yuanzi gritted his teeth in agony and fished out one additional shield. This is my life-bound spirit treasure. With this included, is it finally enough? That brings the total to 21,000 points. That will suffice for now. Any more posturing and he might truly lose his life. I collected the spirit treasures and finalized the transaction, pointing him toward the spirit ghost range to seek the bamboo dragon seed. There lie the remains of 7 bamboo dragons, enough to mend his broken spirit meridians. I handed him the jade slip. Bing Yuanzi took it, scanned it, and was overcome with immense joy. Many thanks, Senior. Having said that, he transformed into a streak of light and hurried away. After seeing off the fat fish, Mu Yannian bowed respectfully. Many thanks to you, Senior, for saving my life once again. I observed her, and the more I looked, the more satisfied I became. This girl is not just a living signboard. She is quite a useful tool. Yannian, do you have any interest in becoming a chore disciple at the Heavenly Secret Pavilion? A chore disciple? She was stunned, her eyes filled with surprise, but her expression quickly dimmed. I am grateful for your favor, Senior, but the Goddess Palace has treated me well. I cannot betray my sect. Oh? So you have your principles, do you? I esteemed her even more. As you wish. The Heavenly Secret Pavilion never forces anyone. You may summon your master to come and retrieve you. After speaking, I turned and headed inside to begin auditing the spoils of war. Over 50,000 Heavenly Secret points have entered my account. Finally, I can afford to spend, so I opened the system shop. The supreme cultivation techniques made me drool. The God-suppressing prison physique for 1 billion points, the Dharma of absolute freedom for 500 million. I could not afford them. Damn it. Finally, my gaze locked onto a classic manual, the first volume of the Wuxi Sutra for 10,000 points, created by the great emperor at the end of the immortal path. The quality is beyond question, and most importantly, it is affordable. I confirmed the purchase, noting that it requires the innate holy body Dao fetus to cultivate. I felt swindled, but with no other choice, I gritted my teeth and paid for the innate holy Ba Dao, deducting another 11,000 points. As my constitution began to awaken, my heart ached. Over 20,000 points, barely in my hand, were already gone. Looking at the remaining 31,000 points, Suyu spoke decisively, use it all to elevate my strength. As the words left my lips, the Wuxi Sutra began to circulate on its own, and a terrifying aura awakened within my body. Immediately after, the Heavenly Secret Pavilion began to tremble as the azure dragon of the east, the white tiger of the west, the vermilion bird of the south, and the phantasmal images of the 4 great divine beasts roared within the void, while I sat cross-legged at the center, appearing like a celestial king, descending to suppress the ages. Moyanian stood outside the door, staring in stunned silence. What kind of phenomenon is this? Before she could react, the imagery shifted once more. A golden sea flooded the heavens and earth, with a single resplendent chaos green lotus swaying brilliantly. Following this, an ancient Tao platform emerged from the chaos. That magnificent figure stood with his back turned to all living beings. That back alone was enough to make the 10,000 paths of the heavens and earth lament. Mo Yannian gazed blankly, tears falling from her eyes against her will. From that silhouette, she could sense nothing but infinite loneliness and sorrow. Is this truly the true form of the Senior? In this moment, the last vestiges of doubt in her heart were completely shattered, replaced only by absolute submission. The phenomenon dissipated, and I opened my eyes. The Wuxi Sutra upgraded quite well, but all my funds have been exhausted. I felt a slight headache as I looked at the bewildered Mo Yannian, secretly praying for her master to arrive soon and deliver the payment. At the same time, the soulbound elder, Bing Yuanzi, hurriedly arrived at the coordinates I had provided. Does this place look like it holds the dragon bamboo seed? He searched for 10,000 miles, but found only trees. Not to mention dragon remains, he couldn't even find a single dragon scale. Could it be that I have been deceived? He flew into a rage, casually striking a palm into the void to vent his frustration. Boom! This strike seemed to shatter some hidden barrier. The next second, a deafening dragon's roar pierced the clouds, and the surrounding landscape underwent a drastic transformation. The lush forest was consumed by netherworld flames. 7 black dragon skeletons blotted out the sky, quietly hovering in midair, their terrifying pressure directly forcing a tribulation-transcending expert like Bing Yuanzi to slam face first into the ground. Heavens, it truly is the dragon bamboo. Bing Yuanzi crawled on the ground. Far from being angry, he was delirious with joy. The senior did not deceive me. He was so agitated that his entire body trembled, and where he had previously cursed inwardly, he now wished he could kowtow to me a few times. These are 7 dragon bamboo stalks. Even without mentioning repairing his martial veins, they are priceless treasures for alchemy and weapon refining. Not to mention the surrounding area was filled with nameless, high-grade spiritual herbs. A massive profit. This time I have struck gold. Suppressing his excitement, he pulled out a jade slip, and following the formation-breaking technique I provided, carefully navigated through the saint-level killing formation, guarding the outer perimeter. Half an hour later, he finally arrived at the central region. The scene before his eyes left him breathless. Amidst the skeletal remains of a bamboo dragon stood a small, waist-high tree radiating a brilliant spiritual glow. Hanging from its peak was a lush green fruit surrounded by the faint, lingering silhouettes of dragons. A bamboo dragon spirit fruit and a million-year-old sacred herb at that. Bing Wanzi's eyes glowed crimson. If he were to consume this, he might ascend to sainthood right then and there. He stepped forward as if entranced, but when he came within 10 feet of the spirit fruit, he found himself unable to take another step forward. That was the terrifying draconic pressure emanating from the sacred herb itself. To attempt to pluck it by force would surely invite death. A treasure in plain sight, yet utterly unreachable. Bing Yuanzi tried several times, nearly losing his life in the process. Forced to resign himself to failure, he concluded that he would have to secure the remains first and then seek the method to harvest the fruit at the Tianji Pavilion later. He retreated a few paces and produced the sealing scroll I had provided. Countless sealing runes surged forth, wrapping tightly around the remains of the 7 bamboo dragons and pulling them forcefully into the scroll. Success. Bing Yuanzi's weathered face flushed with excitement. With this in his possession, the Bing Xuan sect would be saved. Yet, the very moment he tucked the scroll away, the loss of the remains suppressing the area caused the bamboo dragon spirit fruit to suddenly emit a draconic roar that shook the very heavens. 7 dragon shadows shot straight into the sky, tearing through the dark void. The secret realm, previously hidden, collapsed instantly. The terrifying phenomenon pierced the 9 heavens, clearly visible to any cultivator within 10,000 miles. It is finished. The disturbance is far too great. Bing Wanzi's expression shifted violently. The phenomenon caused by the sacred herb could no longer be concealed. The entire Mongwang domain would surely descend into chaos. At that moment, the unbalanced killing formation began to erupt uncontrollably. An endless wave of lethal intent surged forth like a rising tide. Bing Yuanzi grabbed a few spiritual herbs that were tens of thousands of years old and fled the secret realm without daring to look back. Standing in the void, watching the bamboo dragon grounds being completely swallowed by the killing formation, he was still gripped by lingering fear. Had he been a step slower, not even his bones would have remained. But fortunately, even though he failed to obtain the sacred herb, he now held the most significant trump card in his hands. One wonders if these 3 spiritual herbs will be sufficient to purchase the intelligence on how to harvest the sacred herb. Bing Yuanzi deliberated for a moment before turning and departing with haste. At the Tianji Pavilion, I was leafing through books with leisure. Mu Yanyan stood obediently behind me like a dutiful handmaiden when suddenly a dragon's roar echoed through the 9 heavens, causing the entire Duanhun mountain range to tremble. The girl's face drained of all color, but I merely set down my book and allowed a slight smirk to curl my lips. It seems the Mongguang domain is finally about to become lively. Historical records from the 882nd year of the Mongguang era state that the 7 dragons' pearl had descended, and with this manifestation of a saintly opportunity, those sacred lands that always considered themselves peerless were thrown into an uproar. The old ancestor of the Heavenly Sword Sacred Land manifested his Dharma body and commanded the geniuses under his command to retrieve the opportunity. Whoever succeeded would become the master of the 10,000 sword mound. As for my Tianji Pavilion, in his eyes, it was nothing more than a speck of dust beneath an imperial decree. The decrepit old ghost of the heavenly demon sect has even crawled out of his coffin, dreaming of attaining sainthood. He boasts that once he ascends, he will crush a lowly insect like me with a single gesture. Even the sweeping monk of Green Dragon Temple, whom I once exposed, and that wicked loose cultivator Chen Beishuan are now eyeing this succulent piece of meat with predatory intent. I took a sip of tea, and noticing Mu Yanyan beside me growing frantic, I casually reassured her. "Cease your worrying, your master has arrived." Scarcely had I spoken when 100 miles away, an icy silhouette ascended like a frozen gale, none other than Princess Lu Roxi of the Goddess Palace. But when she truly stood before the gate, Yanyan was so terrified she dropped the transmission talisman from her trembling hands. "Master, what are you doing?" One could see that the famously cold and peerless princess was currently carrying a bundle of blood-soaked demonic thorns upon her back. Her elegant cyan robes were stained crimson, a sight that would make any observer shudder. Lurushi of the Goddess Palace seeks an audience with Pavilion Master Su. I waved my hand, signaling for her to enter. Witnessing her act of self-mortification, I set my teacup down and sighed softly. Princess Lu is playing the Penitence by Thorns card once again. Why go to such lengths? She endured the excruciating agony as the sharp thorns tore at her divine soul, and struggled to bow, saying, "The Pavilion Master granted Yanyan the gift of rebirth. Previously, my disciples failed to show due respect and dared to speak insolently. By slandering the Pavilion Master, I, as princess, cannot escape responsibility, so I have come specifically to accept my punishment." I found her to be quite resolute. and with a casual flick of my sleeve, the thorns, capable of wounding the soul of a Dharma manifestation realm expert, vanished into thin air in an instant. Even the wounds on her back and the damage to her divine soul were completely mended in the blink of an eye. What manner of divine power is this? Luroxi froze in place, clearly stunned by this display of manifesting the law with a single word, while I remained calm, casually opening her system profile. At the peak of the Dharma manifestation realm, she is a palace master, yet she is so impoverished she lacks a single tribulation-grade spiritual treasure, and her cultivation manual is incomplete. Yet while others come to me seeking fortune and immortality, her only concern is how to beg me to let her disciple remain here. Even if only as a menial servant, such dedication to protecting one's disciple is truly rare. It is no wonder Mu Yanyan was so determined to stay. Remaining in the goddess palace was not without its reasons. I, Su, am well aware of the purpose behind Princess Lu's visit. Whether Yanyan stays or departs is a decision that rests solely with her. I shall not intervene. I took a sip of green tea and spoke bluntly. Upon hearing this, Lu Roshi was stunned at first, and then her face lit up with immense joy. She understood that this senior was granting. She turned around instantly and said with profound meaning, Yanran, from now on you shall remain by the senior's side as a chore disciple. As for the goddess palace, you need not worry about it any longer. Upon hearing this, Mo Yanran prepared to refuse in haste. Master, I am only… Before she could finish her sentence, Lu Roshi interrupted her directly. Yanran, you have now awakened the ice and fire profound spirit body. The goddess palace is too small in scale. Not only can it offer you no assistance, but it may even become a burden to your growth. But here, by the senior side, even as a chore disciple, you will reap immense benefits. Furthermore, if you stay here, does that mean you will forget the goddess palace? Remain here. It is the best choice for both you and the goddess palace. I believe the other elders would reach the same conclusion. Hearing Lu's words, Mo Yanran fell silent. I sat to the side, observing the master and disciple as they confided in each other, watching them with a faint smile without intervening. To me, whether Mo Yanran stayed or left was of little consequence. I merely required a pair of eyes to help me scout information from the outside world. Mo Yanran was the best choice, but she was not the only one. But I had already refused the senior earlier. After a moment of hesitation, Mo Yanran looked up and cautiously cast a glance at me. Lu Ruoxi pondered for a moment, then retrieved 4 Dharma-grade spirit treasures and a considerable amount of high-grade medicinal pills from her storage ring. Pavilion Master Su, would it be possible to grant Yanran another chance? Lu Ruoxi asked in a soft, probing tone. Ding. Detected 4 Dharma-grade spirit treasures, convertible to 2,000 Heavenly Secret points. Detected grade 6 medicinal pills, convertible to 500 Heavenly Secret points. Observing the spirit treasures and elixirs that Lu Roshi presented, I accepted them all and converted them entirely into Heavenly Secret points. Mo Yanran, are you willing to become a chore disciple of the Heavenly Secret Pavilion? I stood up and asked with indifference. Mo Yanran glanced at her master, and this time, without a shred of hesitation, she knelt on one knee and said respectfully, Yanran greets the Pavilion Master. Good, I offered a faint smile, then raised my head to look toward the distant phenomenon of the 7 dragons playing with a pearl, and spoke slowly. Your first mission is to immediately depart for the soul-severing mountain range, and notify the entire wild, desolate region. The Saint's opportunity this time is reserved only for those prodigies whose names appear on the Heavenly Secret Ranking. Those who defy the decree of the Heavenly Secret Pavilion shall be executed without mercy. Do not say you were not warned. Within the Heavenly Secret Pavilion, boundless killing intent surged like a tidal wave. Lu Roshi and Mo Yanran felt as though their very souls were freezing and aching in agony. Fortunately, this killing intent was not directed at them, yet they could not begin to imagine the disastrous fate that would befall them were they truly engulfed by it. Too powerful, terrifyingly so. Pavilion Master, is that Saint's opportunity also related to the Heavenly Secret Pavilion? After a long while, Mo Yanran finally collected her senses and asked cautiously. I stood with my hands behind my back, looking down at Mo Yanran. You must remember well, the secrets of heaven cannot be revealed. Even if it does not concern my Tianji Pavilion, anyone who receives an order from Tianji must not defy it, let alone claim they were not forewarned. Lu Roshi stood to the side, and upon hearing these words, she was suddenly overcome by an urge to kneel. Is this truly the demeanor of the Tianji Pavilion? Not even the 2 great supernatural holy lands of the Mongguang domain would dare to utter such overbearing words, would they? Pavilion Master, how should we intimidate the forces of the Mongguang domain? Mu Yanyan asked. My thoughts stirred slightly as I opened the system store. I directly located an item, the Tianji Order. It is a spiritual treasure exclusive to disciples of the Tianji Pavilion, capable of storing the power of the heavenly Tao. It can be used only 3 times, and a single strike can slaughter any cultivator below the Shentang realm. The cost is 2,000 points. To be below the Shentang realm implies that even cultivators at the Duoji realm could be slain in a single blow. How many Shentang realm cultivators could there be in the Mongguang domain? They could likely be counted on the fingers of one hand. Now that the opportunity for the Dragon Seed has emerged, if I seize this chance to bolster the reputation of the Tianji Pavilion, the pavilion will be renowned throughout the entire Mongguang domain. Take this Tianji order and head to the Duanhun mountain range. Anyone who dares to defy the orders of Tianji may be executed on the spot. I flicked my finger and an ancient token flew directly into Mu Yanyan's hand. Upon receiving the Tianji order, Mo Yan's entire body trembled. She could clearly sense the terrifying power contained within. If it were unleashed, I fear even a powerhouse of the Faxiang realm would be annihilated instantly. Yanyan will certainly not fail the pavilion master's trust. Mu Yanyan stowed away the Tianji order, her expression grave as she spoke. Lu Roshi, standing nearby, stepped forward, cupped her hands, and said, I shall also go to assist Yanyan. Pavilion Master Su, farewell. Having spoken, the teacher and student transformed into streaks of light, flying straight toward the Duanhun mountain range. Watching their figures gradually vanish, a faint smirk tugged at the corner of my mouth. I never imagined that just half a month ago I was worried about mere survival. Yet now, the reputation of the Tianji Pavilion is about to resound throughout the Mongwang domain, and this is only the beginning. What follows is how to build the image of the Tianji Pavilion and how to harvest more Tianji points. Should I conceive of something truly interesting? I lowered my head in contemplation and sat down once more, waiting for the moment to arrive. Meanwhile, outside the Duanhun mountain range, many factions had already arrived early. The Duanhun mountain range has long since become a desolate graveyard, with a colossal killing formation shrouding a radius of 10,000 miles. Ethereal runes hang suspended in the void like stars, radiating a blinding brilliance. High in the sky, the omen of the 7 dragons playing with the pearl has yet to dissipate. Within the swirling killing array, the silhouettes of 10,000 dragons surge, releasing an aura of terror that threatens to engulf the heavens and the earth. Wherever this energy passes, all things are reduced to nothingness. Is this truly the power of a saint? The cultivators who rush to the scene at the news are chilled to the marrow by the harrowing sight before them. If one were to accidentally wander inside, it is likely that not even their bones would remain. Yet beneath their fear, their hearts are filled with greed and a frenzied delight. The stronger the formation, the more precious the opportunity hidden within must be. If they could seize the chance inside, they cannot even fathom the monumental benefits they would reap. Chen Anji, the saint son of the Heavenly Sword Holy Land, has arrived. Ya Xingchen, the saint son of the Kangwu Holy Land, has also descended. Even these 2 transcendental holy lands could not resist the temptation of a saint's legacy. However, why have the saints of these 2 great holy lands not yet appeared? It is all the better if they do not come. These 2 holy lands have already occupied the resources of half the Mongwang domain. It is time for them to step aside. Outside the Duanhun mountain range, the cultivators whisper and gossip. Everyone's eyes are fixed upon the saint's legacy before them, awaiting only the dissipation of the 7 dragons playing with the pearl in the sky before they charge in to seize it. While they wait, 2 streaks of light streak across the horizon. The cultivators at the scene glance over, but upon realizing it is the princess of the goddess palace and Mu Yanyan, they lose interest and avert their gazes. This saint's legacy has drawn even the 2 transcendental holy lands. It is only natural that the goddess palace would also be present. Mu Yanyan scans the major powers surrounding the Duanhun mountain range, steps forward, takes a deep breath, and speaks with an indifferent expression. The Heavenly Mystery Pavilion has issued an order. This opportunity is reserved solely for the Heavens Chosen listed on the Mongwang Heavens Chosen ranking. Those who defy the command of the Heavenly Mystery Pavilion shall be executed without mercy. Do not say you were not warned. Mu Yanyan's voice echoes across the Duanhun mountain range. Immediately, the gaze of everyone present shifts toward her. At this moment, Mu Yanyan commands even more attention than the saint's legacy itself. The world falls silent for a brief second before erupting into a chorus of mockery. Did we just hear that correctly? She intends to bar us from vying for the saint's legacy. What, pray tell, is the Tianji Pavilion? Does she think she owns this saint-level opportunity? Such unbridled arrogance when she is merely ranked mid-tier on that so-called prodigy list. Yet she acts as if she has already ascended to sainthood. Cultivators from the surrounding sects unleashed a barrage of biting mockery. To block one's path to fortune is no different than murdering one's kin. Moreover, this was a saint-level opportunity, a chance to forge a peerless saint. This wet-behind-the-ears girl is truly courting death. A hot-tempered elder of the Tianmo sect could no longer restrain himself. He waved his hand, striking directly at Mu Yanyan. Demonic energy surged, coalescing into a pitch-black python that tore through the void. In the blink of an eye, it lunged toward Mu Yanyan for to die at the hands of a Dharma form realm expert. This Mu Yanyan could consider her life well spent. The surrounding cultivators gloated, with none offering aid, yet just as the black python was about to strike Mu Yanyan, it vanished in a bizarre display. Mu Yanyan waved her jade hand, revealing the ancient token that I had bestowed upon her. As the Tianji token emerged, the power of the heavenly Tao contained within it erupted forth. Rumble. In the very next moment, the once clear sky was suddenly veiled by a layer of thunderclouds. A terrifying pressure from the heavens descended. It struck directly at the Tianmo sect elder. In a single instant, the Dharma form realm elder dissolved into countless specks of light and vanished into the void as if he had never existed at all. Throughout the ordeal, the elder did not even emit a scream. He simply ceased to be in a most uncanny fashion. Witnessing this scene and feeling the oppressive force from the heavens, the expressions of those cultivators who had been mocking her instantly froze. A sense of extreme peril gripped every heart, sending shivers down their spines. What had just transpired? What method had Mu Yanyan employed? Once again, all eyes turned toward Mu Yanyan, fixated on the ancient token hovering before her. Feeling the terrified gazes of the crowd, Mu Yanyan remained expressionless and stated coldly, "Do not say I did not warn you. The area outside the Duanhun Mountains fell into absolute silence. Even under the pressure of the heavenly Tao, the saint-level killing array behind them grew subdued, not daring to stir any further. Though Mu Yannian appeared calm on the surface, her heart was in truth surging with shock. She had not expected that the TNG token, which her senior had given her so casually, would possess such terrifying power. To eliminate a Dharma form realm expert in the blink of an eye, with the TNG token in her possession, she was truly untouchable. Mu Yannian gained a renewed sense of confidence. She stood straighter, her expression filled with arrogance. The cultivators from the major factions who had been clamoring moments ago fell silent, casting wary glances toward Mu Yannian. Yet the allure of a saint's fortuitous encounter remained far too great. On what grounds should cultivators, whose names are absent from the Prodigy rankings, be barred from contending for this saint's inheritance? This was certainly not some decree left behind by the Heavenly Secret Pavilion. One cultivator shouted his protest. Upon hearing this, Mu Yannian spared the man a fleeting glance and stated clearly, this fortuitous encounter is named the Dragon Casting Seed, brought forth by Pavilion Master Su Yu of our Heavenly Secret Pavilion. Do you have a problem with that? This saint's inheritance was opened by the Heavenly Secret Pavilion? Hearing Mu Yannian's words, the crowd was stunned. Just because she claims the Heavenly Secret Pavilion opened it, does that make it true? I could just as easily claim that I opened it myself. Other cultivators retorted with mockery, but Mu Yannian merely let out a cold laugh as the Heavenly Secret token before her began to vibrate gently. Seeing the movement of the Heavenly Secret token, those cultivators fell silent in haste. Even a powerhouse at the Dharma manifestation realm could not withstand a single blow from the Heavenly Secret token, let alone mere small fry like themselves. They could only hope that the top sects would step forward to suppress Mu Yannian. She lacks true strength, yet her tone is remarkably arrogant. Indeed, shortly thereafter, the sect master of the Heavenly Demon sect stepped forward and let out a cold snort. You killed an elder of my Heavenly Demon sect. Then you shall offer a spirit treasure to pay for his life. Having spoken, his figure transformed into a stream of black mist, and in the blink of an eye, he arrived before Mu Yannian. He reached out to seize the Heavenly Secret token, his aura at the Tribulation Transcendence realm erupting forth, causing the blood within Mu Yannian's veins to seem as though it had frozen solid, leaving her entire body paralyzed. Such power. Mu Yannian's expression turned grave. She wondered if this Heavenly Secret token could truly eliminate a Tribulation Transcendence expert as the senior had claimed. But just as the Heavenly Demon Sect Master was about to touch the token, he suddenly shuddered, his pupils reflecting sheer terror as if he had witnessed something unimaginably horrifying. He then fled at a speed even greater than when he had approached, retreating a full 100 miles away. What was that sensation just now? The face of the Heavenly Demon Sect Master turned as dark as a gathering storm. He was a man who had survived the baptism of the Heavenly Tribulation. Had he forcibly seized the Heavenly Secret token just now, he likely would have suffered the same fate as the elder before him. This Heavenly Secret Pavilion possessed an eerie nature. From the moment the Heavenly Demon Sect Master struck to the moment he fled, not even a single breath had passed. This abrupt turn of events left all the cultivators present in a state of shock. What just happened? The Heavenly Demon Sect Master is a cultivator of the Tribulation Transcendence realm. Is it possible that even he could do nothing against the spiritual treasure of the Heavenly Secret Pavilion? In an instant, the atmosphere turned dense and suffocating to the extreme. Must we truly abandon the saint's fortuitous encounter, give up everything for nothing? That is the legacy of a saint. Let us strike together. No matter how powerful that spiritual treasure may be, it must have its limits. I do not believe that a cultivator who has only just entered the immortal mortal realm, like Mu Yannian, could wield it indefinitely. The crowd of cultivators remained unwilling to give up. Consumed by greed, their rationality was slowly being devoured. Watching the cultivators shifting restlessly, Mu Yannian gripped the Heavenly Secret token tightly, her face filled with anxiety. Yet, just as the mob prepared to swarm, a calm, indifferent voice suddenly echoed. Only the chosen prodigies of the Mongguang region are permitted to contend for the fortuitous encounter this time. This is the saint realm of the Sword God Ancestor. If anyone is dissatisfied, they are welcome to seek redress at the Heavenly Sword Holy Land. The voice was not loud, yet to the ears of the cultivators, it resonated like a thunderclap. All eyes turned simultaneously toward Chen Anji. Is the Heavenly Sword Holy Land also intending to interfere? The expressions of those from the major powers turned grim, yet faced with Chen Anji, they dared not make a single move. After all, the mysterious Heavenly Secret Pavilion, regardless of its origin, lacked the overwhelming pressure of an ancient Holy Land. Holy Son Chen Anji, a cultivator by his side, whispered, looking puzzled, why reach out to assist the Heavenly Secret Pavilion and Mu Yannian? Chen Anji cast a glance at Mu Yannian and replied nonchalantly, nothing of note. I merely find this Heavenly Secret Pavilion somewhat interesting. Holy Son, when a divine opportunity arises, it belongs to whoever can claim it. Even a transcendental Holy Land cannot be so overbearing, can it? A few sects possessing strength slightly inferior to the Heavenly Sword Holy Land spoke coldly. The Yuhua Ancestor also left behind a similar saint realm. We hope your esteemed group keeps that in mind. Immediately after, Ye Jingchen, the Holy Son of the Kangwu Holy Land, stepped forward. The saints of the two great Holy Lands had aligned themselves on the same side. This outcome left the sects that still harbored a shred of hope in total despair. While they might have dared to resist a single Holy Land, the alliance of two such powers was enough to raise the entire Mongguang region. Why would the saints of the two great holy lands speak in defense of the Heavenly Secret Pavilion? Could it be that this Heavenly Secret Pavilion has some connection to both holy lands? At this moment, seeing the two great holy lands step forward to suppress the various sects, Muyanian finally exhaled in relief. At this moment, she could not help but glance at Chen Anji and Ye Xingchen. What were these two outstanding prodigies of the Mongguang region truly plotting? With Mu Yannian holding the Heavenly Secret Order at the vanguard and the two great holy lands threatening from the rear, the major sects could only sigh helplessly, urgently summoning the elites listed on the Heaven's Pride ranking to compete for the fortuitous encounter. Meanwhile, some of the weaker sects could only find a glimmer of hope amidst their misfortune. With the top 100 prodigies of the Heaven's Pride ranking gathering here, what kind of collisions will erupt? Is this truly the intention of the Heavenly Secret Pavilion? At this moment, I am sitting in stillness within the Heavenly Secret Pavilion, sensing the surrounding Tao aura growing ever denser, a smile of satisfaction gracing my face. It seems Muyanian has already arrived at the soul-severing mountain range. The name Heavenly Secret Pavilion must have left an indelible impression upon them. Deep within the hearts of the cultivators of the Mongguang region, the host's range of influence has expanded by another 100 miles. When the Tao aura shrouding the Heavenly Secret Pavilion reached a certain threshold, the system's notification suddenly resonated. I rose to my feet and stepped outside the Heavenly Secret Pavilion. With a mere shift of my thoughts, everything within a 200-mile radius came under my absolute control. This is the benefit of reputation. When the renown of the Heavenly Secret Pavilion reaches a certain level, will it eventually shroud the entire mortal continent? I pondered this thought. One must realize that within the domain of the Heavenly Secret Pavilion, I am an invincible existence. Even the power of heavenly tribulation can be shielded. By then, I fear that even the arrogant lands of the south will have no choice but to bow at my feet. However, the immortal mortal continent is vast, far beyond my current imagination. The task is heavy and the road ahead is long. I sighed softly, and with a determined heart, I cast a message directly onto the Heavenly Secret ranking. Whoever secures the fortuitous encounter this time shall be granted a trial of heavenly secrets by the pavilion, I wrote, my hand flowing across the board. Every prodigy in the Mongguang region felt the resonance, simultaneously turning their gazes toward the Mongguang plains. There the Heavenly Secret ranking pierced through the clouds, radiating a faint golden brilliance. Whoever secures the fortuitous encounter this time shall be granted a trial of heavenly secrets by the pavilion. The prodigies of the Mongguang region all wore grave expressions. What concerned them was not the origin of heavenly secrets, but the fact that the Heavenly Secret Pavilion could silently transmit information directly into their minds, seemingly covering the entire Mongguang region at once. Could the master of the Heavenly Secret Pavilion be a saint? Chen Anji and Ye Xingchen exchanged glances, both thinking the same thing. Only the divine sense of a saint would be vast enough to shroud the entire Mongguang region. Could this Heavenly Secret Pavilion see through my true strength? Could that master of the Heavenly Secret Pavilion be a survivor of the final battle, having been reborn somewhere in the soul-severing mountain range? The Saint Chen Beishuan narrowed his eyes. Once I obtain the Candle Dragon Spirit Fruit, I must pay them a visit and add fuel to this fire. The various prodigies, already determined to seize the saint's fortuitous encounter, grew even more fierce in their competition, each eager to uncover exactly what kind of force this Heavenly Secret Pavilion truly is. It seems they are all being influenced by these grand prodigies. The 7 bamboo dragon souls, which had been dancing playfully in the sky, suddenly shot upward as if responding to a command, vanishing into the void. Following the dissipation of this phenomenon, the formidable killing formation that had been wreaking havoc finally returned to a state of calm. The bamboo dragon tomb's secret realm had finally opened. Outside the entrance, the majority of the prodigies listed on the Heaven's Pride ranking had already arrived. This was not even accounting for the cultivators lurking in the shadows, such as the true Chen Beishuan. Chen Anji took the lead, his figure transforming into a streak of light, rushing straight into the killing formation to enter the bamboo dragon tomb. The top 100 prodigies immediately followed suit, refusing to be left behind. The cultivators from the remaining sects and factions could only watch with bloodshot eyes as the figures of these geniuses vanished, their hearts filled with resentment. Some cultivators beat their chests and stomped their feet in frustration, but what good would resentment do? For all you know, a saint from one of the 2 great sacred grounds might be watching you right now. If you are not afraid of death, feel free to rush in. A cultivator sneered coldly, but despite being unable to enter, none of them had any intention of leaving. Everyone harbored the desire to witness the spectacle, eager to see who would ultimately claim the saint's fortune. Boom! Just as the crowd was watching, less than a quarter hour later, a figure was sent flying backward out of the killing formation. It was the prodigy ranked 100th on the Heaven's Pride ranking. Alas, although he managed to make the list, his strength was merely at the Tao Palace realm. Attempting to seize a saint's fortune was far too reckless. The crowd buzzed with speculation. It seemed highly likely that the Heavenly Sword Sacred Ground and the Kangwu Sacred Ground would monopolize the fortune. After all, those 2 sacred grounds had already sent nearly 50 people into the bamboo dragon tomb. Though they could not witness the specific events unfolding within the tomb, that did not stop the gathered cultivators from speculating. As time passed, one prodigy after another was expelled from the bamboo dragon tomb. These prodigies returned empty-handed, their expressions unsightly. It was clear they were unwilling to accept this outcome. However, their bodies were now tainted with the aura of the bamboo dragon, and if they were to enter the tomb again, they would surely be crushed by the killing formation. By the third day, a prodigy whom no one expected was cast out. It was Yi Xingxin, ranked second on the Heaven's Pride ranking. Could it be that he had already obtained the saint's fortune? Surely not. Look at the expression on his face. At this moment, Yi Xingxin stood in the void, his complexion incredibly grim. His luck was abysmal. Due to a medicinal herb worth several 100,000 years, he had carelessly triggered the killing formation and was immediately ejected from the bamboo dragon tomb. But a moment later, he managed to compose himself. The saint child, Chen Anji of the Heavenly Sword Sacred Ground, is still inside. If he obtains the saint's fortune, a disciple of the Kangwu Sacred Ground asked, clearly anxious. He dared not speak the following words aloud, but everyone understood the implication. If the Heaven Sword Sacred Ground were to produce another saint, the delicate balance of power between the two great sacred grounds in the Menghuang region would be shattered. Regarding this, Yi Xingchen remained indifferent, calmly stating, "Rest assured, the Heaven Sword Sacred Ground is incapable of producing a saint." As soon as these words were uttered, they immediately seized the attention of every cultivator present. Had Yi Xingchen been driven to madness by his frustration? Could a place harboring a saint's opportunity truly be insufficient to produce a saint? The opportunity within is a saint-grade spiritual herb, yet it is a saint-grade herb for body tempering. Yi Xingchen explained expressionlessly. The crowd was stunned, and their interest waned by more than half. Since the desolate ancient era, the secret arts of body tempering have vanished, and body refinement has since been regarded as a heterodox path. Without the corresponding techniques and divine abilities, no matter how strong one's physical vessel, one cannot unleash their full potential, serving only as a human sandbag meant to endure blows. However, even if it is merely a body-tempering herb, anything associated with the title of saint cannot be viewed with common eyes. One can only hope that Chen Anji's luck is not too overwhelming. Ye Jingxin said in a low voice regarding so-called opportunities, strength accounts for only a small fraction. What matters more is destiny. Take myself, for instance. My luck today was poor, otherwise I would not have appeared here. Days passed one by one. The Zhulong Tomb secret realm was not vast, and 5 days later the killing formation that had enveloped the entire Zhulong Tomb trembled slightly, dissolving into countless points of light that vanished into the heavens and earth. As the formation dissipated, silhouettes began to emerge from the void. The formation was gone, someone had secured the saint-grade body-tempering herb, but who? Instantly, the gazes of all present converged upon the prodigies who remained within the Zhulong Tomb. These prodigies bore various wounds, yet their eyes shimmered and their aura remained steady and profound. Over the past few days, each of their strengths had increased to some degree. Is this the true benefit of a saint's opportunity? No content to translate. What I am more concerned with right now is who managed to seize that saint-grade body-tempering herb. The cultivators scanned the remaining prodigies, seeking any clue, yet each face displayed only regret and unwillingness. Chen Anji, where is the Zhulong spiritual fruit? Ye Xingxin's gaze locked directly onto Chen Anji as he asked in a deep voice. Chen Anji shrugged, sounding somewhat helpless as he replied, "That thing ran away." Yi Xingxin arched an eyebrow, astonished, and remarked, Are you telling me you were not the one who obtained the Zhulong spiritual fruit?" Chen Anji looked down at the Zhulong tomb below, his gaze sharpening as he spoke. "You will not believe it, but it was seized by a cultivator at the Void Mansion realm." Recalling the scene that had transpired, the dragon aura radiating from the saint-grade medicinal herb made it impossible for them to approach even a single step closer. Yet that Void Realm cultivator was able to charge through with ease, taking it for himself. A Void Realm cultivator? Could it be Chen Beishuan, ranked 13th on the Heaven's Pride board? The cultivators present gasped in shock. That Chen Beishuan's background is shrouded in mystery. Chen Anji and Ye Xingxin exchanged glances. Had the Heavenly Secret Pavilion not promised to bestow a fortuitous encounter upon someone? I want to see if the Heavenly Secret Pavilion can actually track down that person's whereabouts. Deep within the forest of the soul-severing mountain range, Chen Beishuan transformed into a shadow, dashing rapidly close to the ground. This is truly infuriating. If it weren't for the fact that this saint has just been reincarnated, there would be no need to flee in such a manner. Years ago, whoever dared to compete for a fortuitous encounter with him, the evil saint would have been slaughtered on the spot. But now he is merely a Void Realm cultivator, and the saint-grade medicinal herb in his hand is undoubtedly a scorching hot potato. As for the Heavenly Secret Pavilion, the so-called Heavenly Secret origin mentioned earlier had long been cast to the back of his mind. Without the strength to protect himself, he would not trust anyone. After all, that reincarnation secret technique can only be used once. Once this saint refines this Zhulong spirit fruit, he must surely raid those two great holy lands. Chen Beishuan snorted coldly in his heart, his figure gradually fading away. And just as Chen Beishuan had anticipated, after the outcome of the Zhulong fortuitous encounter was settled, all factions reached a single decision: to hunt down Chen Beishuan. Although the Zhulong spirit fruit is a body-refining medicinal herb, it remains incredibly precious. A mere Void Realm cultivator, what right does he have to monopolize it? The hearts of men are governed by greed, especially when faced with temptation. Muyanin did not concern herself with the actions of the various factions, and as soon as the Zhulong secret realm vanished, she immediately returned to the Heavenly Secret Pavilion. 2 hours later, Muyanin arrived back at the Heavenly Secret Pavilion. Pavilion Master, the Zhulong secret realm has reached its conclusion. Inside the pavilion, I was still leisurely sipping tea and reading, my posture seemingly unchanged for the past few days. Chen Beishuan has obtained the Zhulong spirit fruit. I did not even look up, asking indifferently. As expected, nothing in this world can be hidden from the Pavilion Master. Indeed, Chen Beishuan has successfully secured the Zhulong spirit fruit, Mu Yannian said, cupping her hands in a bow. Having said that, she hesitated for a moment before asking with suspicion, Pavilion Master, what is the background of that Chen Beishuan? How could he have obtained the Zhulong spirit fruit so easily? The saint-grade medicinal herb had formed its own domain. With Mu Yannian's current strength, she could not get close, yet from afar, she could still feel power sufficient to destroy her. Even Chen Anji, who stands at the top of the Heaven's Pride Board, in that domain no one had been able to advance a single step before. Yet only Chen Beishuan, while in the void-severing realm, could enter as if walking through an empty courtyard. When he arrives, you will naturally understand. I set down the book in my hand and said with a calm smile, so Chen Beishuan is coming? Mu Yannian was momentarily stunned, then asked, Pavilion Master, your disciple has returned. Throughout the wild wasteland domain, all the great powers are searching for Chen Beishuan's whereabouts, hoping to seize the dragon spirit bamboo fruit. If he is not a fool, he would surely find a safe place to hide and wait until he has refined the dragon spirit bamboo fruit before emerging. Indeed, I nodded in agreement, but then the corners of my mouth curled into a smile as I asked, but tell me, in this world, what place could be safer than the Heavenly Secret Pavilion? Mu Yannian was taken aback, and at that very moment I sensed something. I raised my head to glance outside the pavilion, and smiled lightly. Look, he has arrived. 200 miles from the Heavenly Secret Pavilion, a figure suddenly halted, looking up at the sky. His expression was incredibly grim. Why is the pressure of the heavenly Tao here so bizarre? This person was none other than Chen Beishuan. In his eyes, within a 200-mile radius of the Heavenly Secret Pavilion, the pressure of the heavenly Tao cascaded down like a waterfall, shrouding the entire space. Even as he stepped into the area, he felt as if his very spirit were about to shatter. Damnable Heavenly Secret Pavilion, why is it located here? Chen Beishuan looked around, his gaze drawn to an ancient pavilion atop the mountain. Upon the pavilion, the three characters' Heavenly Secret Pavilion radiated a profound and mysterious aura. Seeing the Heavenly Secret Pavilion, Chen Beishuan did not hesitate and turned to leave. To him, the Heavenly Secret Pavilion represented an unknown, and the unknown was synonymous with danger. Before he had truly reached the pinnacle of his power, Chen Beishuan did not want to have any dealings with the Heavenly Secret Pavilion. But just as Chen Beishuan prepared to depart, a calm voice suddenly echoed in his ear. Fellow Taoist Beishuan has arrived. Why not come inside and share a seat? Hearing this voice, Chen Beishuan's expression stiffened. Before he could react, his vision blurred, and when his senses returned, he found himself already inside the Heavenly Secret Pavilion. Upon entering, Chen Beishuan immediately saw a peerless man in scholar's robes sitting before a desk, smiling warmly at him. Behind me, Mu Yannian stood respectfully, observing him. Is this really Chen Beishuan? He looks quite ordinary. He truly appears very plain. Mu Yannian thought to herself. She had only caught a brief glimpse of him at the dragon bamboo forest. Now, looking closely, he seemed entirely unremarkable. Fellow Taoist, I was merely passing through and had no intention of causing a disturbance. I shall take my leave now. Chen Beishuan regained his composure and cupped his hands in a salute. Being silently transported to this Heavenly Secret Pavilion was not something an ordinary person could achieve. The young man before him was definitely not someone to be trifled with. Leave as soon as possible. Fellow Taoist Chen Beishuan, why the sudden rush? I looked at the Chen Beishuan before me, a mocking smile tugging at the corners of my mouth, and said indifferently, could it be that the illustrious evil saint is afraid of a mere master of the Heavenly Secret Pavilion like myself? Boom. The moment those words left my lips, the aura surrounding Chen Beishuan shifted violently. His gaze, previously restrained, turned chillingly sinister in an instant. A sky-piercing murderous intent erupted from his body like a volcanic explosion. An invisible gale surged outward, manifesting as a roiling tidal wave. It crashed toward me and Mu Yannian. Upon meeting Chen Beishuan's gaze, Mu Yannian's beautiful face drained of all color and she involuntarily retreated a step. In that split second, she felt as though she were peering into Chen Beishuan's eyes and witnessing an entire world, a world of mountains of corpses and seas of blood. In that realm, blood flowed like rivers, bones piled up like mountains, and not a single living soul remained. It was a world of death. Even the 9 hells would appear as a paradise by comparison. Was this truly the same ordinary man from moments ago? How could a cultivator at the Wufu realm possess such terrifying murderous intent? And what did he mean by the title Evil Saint? Mu Yannian gulped hard. Even while hiding behind me, she felt a bone-chilling cold permeate her entire body. Just who are you? Chen Beishuan's bloodshot eyes locked onto mine as he gritted out each word. Are you the great Saint Qinglian or the great Saint Fuqian? The reincarnation of the evil saint was Chen Beishuan's most guarded secret, yet now it had been laid bare by a single glance from me. The moment I revealed his identity as the evil saint, only one thought occupied Chen Beishuan's mind: to kill me and silence the truth forever. Sensing the torrential, murderous intent radiating from him, I offered a calm smile and gently closed the book in my hands. In the very next heartbeat, that overwhelming killing intent vanished like smoke in a gentle breeze. At this moment, Chen Beishuan could not even summon a single strand of spirit energy. What manner of technique is this? It is powerful, even more so than he was at his peak. Chen Beishuan's pupils constricted violently. As the murderous aura dissipated within the pavilion, I spoke indifferently. Who I am is of no consequence. What matters is who you are. Are you the evil saint, or are you Chen Beishuan? Before me, a pale blue screen of light drifted silently into view. Name Chen Beishuan. Strength, peak Wufu realm. When unleashing his full power, he is capable of rivaling those in the Xianfan realm. 9 Helvation Nirvana Sutra. Divine abilities, Asura Cannon, Tishu Cyan Shadow Step, Sight-Piercing Evil Strategy, Back-Shattering Fists. The Saint Tier Sword lies within the grasp of the sacred relic. At the peak of his power 80,000 years ago, the evil saint was besieged by 13 sages at the Valley of the Final End, where the final battle erupted. In the end, he perished together with the 13 sages. The evil saint was reincarnated into the body of a good-for-nothing from the Chen family. However, because the 9 Nether Nirvana Sutra was incomplete, his divine soul could not perfectly merge with the host body. Consequently, he is now frantically refining the dragon spirit fruit to enhance his physical strength, hoping to fully fuse his soul. After reading the introduction about Chen Beishuan, I could not help but click my tongue. It turns out that reincarnation is not merely the stuff of novels. If I did not possess the Heavenly Secret System, would this man be the protagonist of this world? I picked up my teacup, took a small sip, and once again scrutinized Chen Beishuan, who was pinned under my gaze. Chen Beishuan felt a chill run down his spine. The sensation was as if his very existence were being seen through. It was truly unsettling. But having once stood at the pinnacle of cultivation, he quickly steadied his mind, retracted his thoughts, and coldly, "What are you talking about, Pavilion Master? I do not understand. I'm merely a humble rogue cultivator." Seeing that Chen Beishuan maintained such a stubborn facade, refusing to admit the truth, I shook my head with a faint smile. "Fellow Taoist Beishuan, there is no need to be tense. I harbor no ill intent. I have stated before that whoever possesses the fortuitous encounter of the dragon spirit seed shall receive one manifestation of the source of heavenly secrets, and I will not go back on my word. After all, my Heavenly Secret Pavilion values integrity above all else. Speak, fellow Taoist Beishuan, what sort of fortuitous encounter do you desire?" Upon hearing this, Chen Beishuan remained expressionless and refused without hesitation. "My thanks to the Pavilion Master. But I have no interest in the source of heavenly secrets. I am in a hurry." After saying his farewells, Chen Beishuan turned to leave. Watching his retreating figure, my fingers lightly brushed the rim of my cup as I observed the steam rising from the tea, and I spoke nonchalantly. "Truly no interest? Even if it concerns the 9 Nether Nirvana Sutra?" No sooner had the words left my lips than Chen Beishuan's footsteps suddenly came to a halt. He turned around abruptly, his expression fierce. Hearing news of the 9 Nether Nirvana Sutra from my lips shocked him far more than when his identity as the evil saint was exposed, leaving him even more frantic. Although his internal energy was completely suppressed by my lock, unable to leak even the slightest bit, one could still see the turmoil within his heart from the veins throbbing on his forehead and eyes that had turned a deeper shade of crimson. The 9 Nether Nirvana Sutra was the very fuse that ignited the final battle 80,000 years ago. It was nothing less than an emperor scripture, a true, authentic emperor scripture, the sheer value of which needs no further explanation. Across the entire immortal mortal continent, there have only ever been 5 great emperors, and consequently only 5 emperor scriptures left as inheritance. If not for that fateful day when he was besieged by 13 great saints in the final valley, he might have ascended to become the 6th great emperor by now. Yet, ever since that life and death battle, the secret of the emperor scripture should have been known to him alone. How could the master of the Heavenly Secret Pavilion possibly name the Juyo Nirvana scripture so effortlessly? "Just, who are you?" Chen Beishuan's expression turned grave, his fists clenching tight. "I am merely the master of this Heavenly Secret Pavilion." I waved my hand. A chair suddenly materialized, and I gestured for Chen Beishuan to take a seat. "Fellow Taoist Beishuan, there is no need for concern. The Heavenly Secret Pavilion deals only in commerce and does not concern itself with other matters." Chen Beishuan stared at me, discerning that I truly harbored no ill intent. His fierce expression gradually eased, and after bowing and sitting down, his gaze remained fixed firmly upon me. "Pavilion Master Su, how did you come to know of the Jujio Nirvana scripture?" Chen Beishuan asked in a low, heavy voice. Since the other party had already laid the truth bare, he saw no further need for pretense. "Because this place is the Heavenly Secret Pavilion." I smiled gently, yet Chen Beishuan could perceive a hidden arrogance beneath that calm countenance. And the heavenly secrets of the Heavenly Secret Pavilion truly predict the future. In the era of his peak, even the great emperors themselves dared not speak lightly of heavenly secrets. "Then, what did Pavilion Master Su mean earlier when you spoke of bestowing the origin of heavenly secrets?" Chen Beishuan took a deep breath, asking with underlying anxiety. "Your Juyo Nirvana scripture is incomplete, is it not?" I set down the teacup in my hand, lifted my eyes to look at Chen Beishuan, and went straight to the point. Upon hearing this, Chen Beishuan's pupils uncontrollably constricted, and his heart skipped a beat. The master of the Heavenly Secret Pavilion could truly divine heavenly secrets. Even the 13 great saints who ambushed him had no inkling of this defect. He could state with certainty that before meeting me, he alone in this world knew the full truth. Thinking of this, Chen Beishuan's breathing suddenly became ragged. If the master of the Heavenly Secret Pavilion can truly calculate these mysteries, Pavilion Master Su, do you know where the latter half of the Juyo Nirvana scripture lies? Chen Beishuan asked with desperate urgency. "Naturally, I do." I nodded. Chen Beishuan sprang to his feet with a loud thud, his body trembling with intense emotion. If he could obtain the complete Juyu Nirvana scripture, he would undoubtedly be capable of reaching the realm of a great emperor in this lifetime. But before he could press further, my indifferent voice echoed once more. But why should I tell you? Met with my gaze, the flame of hope that had just flickered to life within Chen Beishuan's heart was extinguished in an instant. Not to mention that the Juyu Nirvana scripture was an emperor-level manual. The heavenly secret points required to track its location would likely amount to millions, perhaps even tens of millions. Furthermore, Chen Beishuan and I were neither friends nor kin. Why would I waste my heavenly secret points to inform him? And what of the origin of heavenly secrets that Pavilion Master Su mentioned earlier? Chen Beishuan asked, unwilling to give up. It was not as if he had not contemplated threatening me to extract the location of the Juyu Nirvana scripture, but the moment that thought surfaced, he suppressed it immediately. The peerless man before him was likely even more powerful than he had been at the height of his own prime. Facing Chen Beishuan's question, my expression remained unchanged as I calmly replied, the origin of heavenly secrets I have already told you. Chen Beishuan was stunned. You told me? Recalling our conversation from moments ago, Chen Beishuan had absolutely no recollection of such a thing. Very well, then I shall say it once more. Observing Chen Beishuan's bewildered expression, I stared at him with eyes as deep as the stars and spoke slowly. Who exactly are you? Are you the discarded son of the Chen family, Chen Beishuan, or are you the evil Chen Beishuan? It was this question again. What could this possibly have to do with the origin of heavenly secrets, or the Juyu Nirvana scripture? Chen Beishuan frowned deeply, but just as he was lost in thought, my voice resonated through his mind like the tolling of a bronze bell. Immediately thereafter, the divine light in Chen Beishuan's eyes faded, becoming utterly lifeless, like a puppet. Within his consciousness, the life of the Chen family's discarded son, Chen Beishuan, and the life of the evil saint, Chen Beishuan, flickered past like a slow-motion film. A moment felt as though it had lasted for countless thousands of years. At some unknown instant, Chen Beishuan suddenly snapped awake, his previously vacant eyes gradually sharpening. I am not the trash of the Chen family, nor am I the evil saint Chen Beishuan. I am simply myself. I offer my gratitude to Pavilion Master Su for bestowing this opportunity. Chen Beishuan stood there. While his outward appearance remained unchanged, it seemed as if everything about him was fundamentally different. Mu Yannian felt a deep sense of confusion. The young man before her seemed to have transformed into an entirely different person. Had the Pavilion Master not simply asked him a single question? What had truly transpired? Yet, without my permission, she dared not open her mouth to inquire. Naturally, I perceived the transformation within Chen Beishuan. The smile upon my lips grew only more radiant. Fellow Taoist Beishuan. Chen Beishuan clasped his hands in a respectful greeting. This junior understands. Many thanks for your guidance, sect leader. Our boy Chen Beishuan already switched up his honorifics, showing mad respect. Even though I just asked him a basic question, it's like an epiphany bomb just detonated in Chen Beishuan's brain. Humans always get stuck reminiscing about past achievements. It's all glory and sunshine until it becomes a freaking anchor holding you back from evolving. Before meeting yours truly, Chen Beishuan's path was a carbon copy of my past life's saintly grind. Because it's familiar success, his subconscious is simping for it, thinking it's the express lane. But if he keeps playing the same record, he'll only peak at saint level, and that's tragic. Reborn with the Juyu Ni Panjing, his goals are way beyond just being a saint, duh. My question was basically a free life-saving cheat code, but hold your horses, Chen Beishuan. The Juyu Ni Panjing you're cultivating has a missing piece, which is why your soul and body aren't vibing properly, right? I chuckled, knowing there's no hiding his current status from this heavenly secret sect leader. But this time Chen Beishuan ain't even surprised. If I can clock the Juyu Ni Panjing, his condition is child's play. Does Senior have us a solution? Chen Beishuan asked, all hoopy-eyed. Solving this is easier than flipping my hand. I smirked and dropped the bomb casually. The Heavenly Secret Sect values its rep, so we gifted you the Heavenly Secret Source. But the Heavenly Secret Sect is still a business, fam. If you want the answer, cough up the goods. Goods? Chen Beishuan bowed his head, looking unusually flustered. He's basically broke and a shunned son of the Chen clan. Dude ain't got a single valuable item on him. And no way he's trading his Juyu Ni Panjing or his life-bound sacred weapon for info. After a minute, Chen Beishuan pulls out some dragon-patterned spiritual fruit, offering it up like, is this bamboo dragon spirit fruit enough? The bamboo dragon spirit fruit is a band-aid on a bullet wound for him. If I can help him completely merge his soul and body, then this body-tempering holy medicine isn't worth squat. Discovered a body-tempering holy medicine can be exchanged for 50,000 heavenly secret points. My jaw dropped at the system's valuation. This is the highest priced treasure I've ever seen. Guess scamming these old foxes is the real get-rich-quick scheme. System's search function says this fruit merges soul and body. I thought to myself, dang, a total of 108 places with opportunities discovered. The Jiochi Holy Land requires 8 million Tianji points to investigate the specific opportunity. The Juan Nirvana Sutra requires 5 million Tianji points to investigate the specific opportunity. I skimmed through them all and couldn't help but click my tongue. Those familiar holy lands always show up whenever I search for opportunities, and the costs are ridiculously high. I really don't know how strong these holy lands are that they can monopolize so many natural opportunities. The Myriad Year Worry Free Elixir cost 5,000 Tianji points to investigate the specific opportunity. I chose the bamboo dragon spirit fruit and directly opened the information about this opportunity. A myriad-year worry-free spirit medicine, a top-grade soul-nourishing treasure, is located in the treasure vault of the Heavenly Sword Holy Land in the Desolate Wilds. Note: the Heavenly Sword Holy Land's treasure vault has a saint-level formation guarding it. Please click to see details on how to break the formation. Seeing the specific information about this opportunity, I was slightly stunned. The Heavenly Sword Holy Land, isn't that one of the two super holy lands in the Desolate Wilds? Recording the information into a jade slip, I flicked my finger and tossed it to Chen Beishuan. The solutions you need are all recorded in there. Upon hearing this, Chen Beishuan was overjoyed and hurriedly checked. But when he saw the information in the jade slip, the smile on his face instantly froze. The Heavenly Sword Holy Land is a holy land, which naturally means there's a saint guarding it. If it were Chen Beishuan in his prime, he could probably ignore the sword god ancestor of the Heavenly Sword Holy Land. But the current him is just a tiny cultivator with no attributes. How could he possibly slip past the eyes of a saint? Seeing the slightly awkward expression on Chen Beishuan's face, I tapped my fingers rhythmically on the table, seemingly hesitant about something. After a while, my hand stopped moving. I said in a low voice, "I can help you, but you must agree to one condition." Chen Beishuan raised his head, his face full of doubt. "I want you to join the Tianji Pavilion and help me establish the Tianji Guard." Chen Beishuan paused slightly, a little too stunned to react. I nodded, face expressionless. This is my own decision, unrelated to the system. I want to earn Tianji points to improve my strength, and making the Tianji Pavilion famous throughout the mortal continent is a necessity. The Southern Overlord Great Emperor once left behind a relic. Within the Desolate Wilds, Tianji doesn't exist. Within the scope of the Tianji Pavilion, one will possess invincible strength. But whether this will still be effective against a Great Emperor is still unknown. After all, the Great Emperor is always a mysterious and enigmatic realm. I don't like to gamble, at least not before facing the Southern Overlord Great Emperor. He needs to be thoroughly prepared, and Chen Beishuan has Earth Sutras within him and is a reincarnated saint. If properly nurtured, he has a very high chance of entering that legendary Earth realm. "Senior, how are you going to help me?" Chen Beishuan asked. I smiled calmly and opened the system to search the merchant shop for a method to shield one's senses from a saint. Dai Shushuan Yu Pei, a half-steps and artifact crafted from jade mined from the land of emptiness beyond the 9 heavens. It has the power to conceal the heavenly secrets, worth 20,000 TNG points. My lips twitched like crazy, but for my plan I gritted my teeth and bought it anyway. Immediately after, I reached out my hand, gently clenching in the void. The very next moment, the spiritual energy within a 10,000-mile radius of Tianji Pavilion went berserk, countless dust and gravel floating in the air. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Under the ravages of the Kwambo spiritual energy, towering mountains rose from the earth. Countless rivers surged and flowed. Within a 10,000-mile radius, the terrain was forcibly changed. The mountains and rivers all converged towards the peak of Tianji Pavilion, swallowed by a dark black hole. Buzz, 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 this storm ravaged for half a K before gradually calming down. After the dust settled, the black hole suddenly exploded. Shockwaves visible to the naked eye swept through the desolate wasteland domain, dispelling all the clouds and mist at a height of 10,000 miles. After the storm subsided, a piece of jade pendant the size of a child's fist quietly floated in the air. When he saw this jade pendant, Chen Beishuan could no longer suppress the shock in his heart, exclaiming in disbelief, "A saint artifact? Could it be that a saint artifact has been born?" Chen Beishuan raised his head and stared blankly at the sky. The jade pendant, only the size of his palm, stirred violently in his heart. He forged a half-step saint artifact with just a flip of his hand. He couldn't even do this during his peak. He stared stiffly at me, relaxed and calm. In his heart, besides respect, there was a hint of fear. "This is the Tai Shushuan Yu Pei. You can use it to sneak into the Tianjian Holy Land to pluck the myriad-year worry-free herb." I pointed my hand, and the jade pendant slowly fell in front of Chen Beishuan. "You're giving it to me?" Chen Beishuan looked at the jade pendant in front of him, exuding a mysterious aura, a little in disbelief. "Don't want it?" I rarely teased him. Chen Beishuan was silent for a long time, then accepted the Tai Shushuan Yu Pei with both hands and said in a deep voice, "Pavilion Master, I don't know if you have any requirements for the Tianji Guards." He called Pavilion Master with heartfelt conviction, and at the same time it represented his willingness to work for me. "I will choose the candidates for the Tianji Guards myself. What you need to do now is improve your strength." Regarding Chen Beishuan's attitude, I was very satisfied and continued, "If you perform well, the latter part of the Juyu Ni Pan Jing." Hearing this, Chen Beishuan looked delighted and immediately cupped his hands. "Many thanks, sect leader, then this disciple will take his leave." With that, Chen Beishuan put away the Tai Shushuan Yu Pei and turned to leave the Tianji Ge. Watching Chen Beishuan's back as he left, Mu Yanran finally couldn't help but ask, "Sect leader, why is this Chen Beishuan called the evil saint?" I stood up, glanced at Mu Yanran, and said with a faint smile, "There are things that you cannot know yet. You also need to quickly improve your strength. Within a year, you must become the leader of the Manhua Prodigy Rankings." The leader of the Manhua Prodigy Rankings. Mu Yanran seemed a little dazed. The current leader of the Prodigy Rankings is the Holy Son Chen Enji of the Tianjian Holy Land. In addition to his unparalleled talent, he is also being cultivated with all efforts by a transcendent Holy Land, and you are the sect leader's disciple, so don't let down my expectations. After a moment of contemplation, Mu Yanran firmly clasped her hands and said, Chenanji has the Tianjian Holy Land, and I have the Tianji Ge. If I can't be the leader of the Prodigy Rankings within a year, I'd rather return to the Goddess Palace to retire. There are many rooms in the pavilion. Go and choose one yourself. If there's anything, I'll call you. I waved my hand, dismissing Mu Yanran. After Mu Yanran left, I slowly walked out of the Tianji Ge. With my hands behind my back, looking into the distance, the Menghuang domain is really getting more and more interesting. I wonder what the reaction will be from the Tianjian Holy Land, that transcendent Holy Land, when Chen Beixuan steals the Wanyan Wu Yu right under their noses. Moreover, the reputation of the Tianji Ge has now spread throughout the Menghuang domain. What actions will the major forces take? Thinking of this, I opened the system store. Looking at the remaining 25,000 Heavenly Secret Points, I haven't touched them yet. These Heavenly Secret Points are still a bit short of being able to buy the second layer of the Wu Shi Jing, and the Wu Shi Jing is originally a D-grade scripture, so the price will only get more expensive later on. It's just that I'm not in a hurry right now. I have a feeling that in the future cultivators will line up to give me Heavenly Secret Points, and that day is not far away. While I was envisioning the future, the Menghuang domain once again fell into a major storm, and the source of this storm is naturally the commotion when the Tai Shu Xuan Yu Pei was born just now. With the appearance of a half-step saint artifact, the treasured Ling Bao of the major forces all cried out and trembled, and even the two transcendent Holy Lands were no exception. The back mountain of the Shangwu Holy Land, an ancient Bagua mirror quietly floated in the air, its powerful aura spreading out, causing the surrounding space to become distorted. And on the surface of the ancient mirror, countless images like a revolving lantern continuously evolved. The four seasons changed, all things transformed, birth, aging, sickness, and death extremely mysterious. This is the Shangwu Holy Land's 10,000-year inheritance saint artifact, the Yin-Yang Bagua mirror. This ancient mirror, which had been silent for nearly 10,000 years, finally showed signs of activity because of the birth of the Tai Shu Xuan Yu Pei. Under the ancient mirror, an old man with crane-like hair and a ruddy complexion stood with his hands behind his back, quietly observing the saint artifact above his head. Ancestor, the Shangwu Holy Master, bowed and asked softly, "Is the Yin-Yang Bagua mirror's movement because of the commotion just now? Wait, a saint artifact just spawned in Menghuang domain?" The Hua Old Ancestor just casually dropped that bomb. No emotion, total Chad move. A saint artifact just popped up. Shangwu Saint Master's heart skipped a beat, his pupils constricted. Even though he low-key expected it, hearing his old ancestor confirm it is wild. A single saint artifact needs a saint-level powerhouse to nurture for 10,000 years. So, Menghuang domain suddenly has a saint artifact? Does that mean some hidden saint-level master is lurking around here? Old Ancestor, you know who forged this thing? Shangwu Saint Master couldn't help but ask. The Hua Old Ancestor shook his head. Seems like the Heavenly Tao is playing games. This old man can't trace its origins. Hearing Heavenly Tao, Shangwu Saint Master's brows furrowed. Could it be the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion? Ever since this so-called Heavenly Secrets Pavilion appeared, Menghuang domain hasn't had a moment of peace. First, we had the Menghuang Prodigy Rankings, then some saint-level opportunities, and now a saint artifact shows up, all thanks to the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion. Hearing Shangwu Saint Master's theory, Yuhua Old Ancestor finally turned around, his eyes blazing with golden light. Heavenly Secrets Pavilion, huh? These guys are just begging for a beatdown. Should we send disciples to scout them out? Shangwu Saint Master inquired. No need. Yuhua Old Ancestor replied without hesitation. Under the Emperor's decree, Heavenly Secrets are forbidden. Daring to call themselves the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion means they're dead men walking. If the Heavenly Secrets sect hadn't been wiped out before, he would be down to chat with the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion. But now he won't defy Emperor Keheng's orders. Just recalling that pressure from a century ago makes Yuhua Old Ancestor shudder. Even though he reached the Saint Realm, he still felt like an ant under that oppressive aura. The words Great Emperor alone make people dare not look straight, dare not disobey. Keep the disciples in the Holy Land in check and limit their contact with the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion. With that, Yuhua Old Ancestor's figure vanished into the back mountains. At the same time, in the Heavenly Sword Holy Land, Sword God Old Ancestor issued similar instructions. The Emperor's might from a century ago left an unforgettable impression on both saints. Old Ancestor, what about that Zhulong Spirit Fruit? Heavenly Sword Saint Master pressed, continue investigating. An infant soul realm cultivator, though suspicious, can't escape Menghuang domain. Sword God Old Ancestor casually said, a body-tempering saint medicine is still a saint medicine, giving it to an infant soul realm cultivator is a waste. But even I couldn't sense anything. Outside the Heavenly Sword Holy Land, Chen Beisheng was quietly approaching. Thanks to the Supreme Mystic Jade, the Jade pendant emitted a radiant glow, completely concealing his aura. Wan Nian Wu Yu, here I come. Zulong Shrine said it was a saint's opportunity, but it's kinda mid, can't lie. Spirit herbs, tens of thousands of years old? Forget Menghuang domain, even Donghuang rarely sees that kinda heat. We barely snagged 2 of them. If the Holy Land's alchemists can refine these 2 god-tier herbs, our Holy Sun's strength is gonna skyrocket. Yo, maybe the Holy Sun will even condense his Dharma idol and step into the Dharma idol realm, just as Chen Beixuan was about to enter the Heavenly Sword Holy Land. Some simping echoes from above. Looking up, it's that clown Chen and Ji, the Heavenly Sword Holy Sun, leading his squad of geniuses back from the Zhulong Shrine. Too bad that body-tempering holy herb got yoinked by some trash at the Wufu realm. That ain't just some trash, bro. Ranking 13th on the Heavenly Pride board at the Wufu realm? Man's gotta have some sauce. So what? With our Holy Land's power in the Monghuang domain, finding a rat is easier than breathing. By then, won't that body-tempering holy herb and the secrets on his body be ours for the taking? The Heavenly Sword Holy Land geniuses are straight up chirping. The topic switches to Chen Beixuan, and Chen Enji, who's leading the pack, suddenly stops, his brows slightly furrowing as he looks down at the dense forest below. Holy son, what's up? The geniuses behind him also hurriedly stop, looking down, but other than the dense forest, there's nothing there. This is in front of the Heavenly Sword Holy Land's mountain gate. Don't even mention people. Not even a spirit beast or even a single bird dares to come near. It's nothing. Chenenji retracts his gaze, turns his head, and glances at the geniuses, coldly saying, "People must learn to be respectful. Even a lion hunting a rabbit uses its full strength. If you guys underestimate your opponents like that, the ones who fail will definitely be you. Arrogance and prejudice will only turn you into trash in the eyes of others." I'll pretend I didn't hear those words. If there's next time, don't blame me for being heartless. Sensing the invisible aura on Chenenji's body, the geniuses behind him shrink back and hurriedly pay their respects. The Holy Sun's teachings are very correct, we understand. Chenenji lets out a cold snort, his figure flashes and darts into the Heavenly Sword Holy Land. Right below, Chen Beisheng clenches his fists, his eyes bloodshot. When did this saint ever have to endure such humiliation? In my past life, mentioning the title of evil saint made everyone in the East turn pale. Yet now these tiny Xianfan realm cultivators dare to utter such arrogant words. Once this sage gets his hands on the Wanyan Wuyu and fuses with it, he'll definitely come back to teach them a lesson. That Beixuan scoffed. To the Taifeng Supei, he strutted right into the Tianjian Shengdi. The moment he stepped into the Tianjian Shengdi, an absolutely terrifying aura descended from the heavens, engulfing the entire space. This is the sect-protecting grand formation of the Tianjian Shengdi, a saint-grade formation. But as that pressure bore down, the Taifu Chuanyu Pei at Chen Beixuan's waist trembled slightly, shimmering white light spreading out, directly dissolving that saint's pressure. This sub-saint artifact crafted by the sect leader is seriously this amazing? Chen Beixuan was secretly ecstatic, carefully observing it for a good while. Even though he was a saint in his past life with extensive knowledge, he still couldn't figure out what materials this thing was made from. Having this sub-saint artifact is truly a priceless treasure for assassination and concealment. A wicked grin crept onto Chen Beixuan's face. After personally testing the Taifu Xuan Pei, Chen Beixuan had no more worries, swaggering around the Tianjian Shengdi. A moment later, Chen Beixuan had already sneaked into the treasure vault of the Tianjian Shengdi. As he entered the treasure vault, he saw at a glance a blue flower swaying in the wind, the Wan Nian Wu Yu. Chen Beixuan's breathing quickened, his body trembling with sense. Immediately after, he strode straight towards the Wan Nian Wu Yu. Smelling the faint fragrance, Chen Beixuan felt refreshed in mind and spirit, his soul seemingly cheering. The sect leader really didn't lie to me. At this moment, Chen Beixuan grew even more reverent. There are 200,000-year spirit herbs as well. Next to the Wan Nian Wu Yu were two lush green spirit herbs, the very ones that Chen Enji and his crew just snatched from the Zhulong species. Well, this sage won't stand on ceremony then. Chen Beixuan waved his hand, directly collecting the two spirit herbs, then carefully plucked the Wan Nian Wu Yu, placing it inside a jade box. But just as he plucked the Wan Nian Wu Yu, a sharp sword intent as if wanting to pierce the heavens, awakened from the Hoshan Shengdi and almost instantly descended upon the treasure vault. A saint with a restriction placed upon him. Chen Beixuan lowered his head, looking at the jade box in his hand, his expression solemn. Although he greatly trusted the Taifu Xuan Pei crafted by Su Wu, he wasn't sure if a saint could completely ignore his presence. Immediately he pocketed the jade box, activated his movement technique, and transformed into a wisp of green smoke, disappearing from the treasure vault. As soon as Chen Beixuan left, the Sword Saint Old Ancestor appeared in the treasure vault. The Sword Saint Old Ancestor stared at the jade basin where the Wan Nian Wu Yu had been planted, silent and expressionless. A moment later, the Tianjian Shengju and Chen Enji, hot on his heels, also rushed into the treasure vault. Old Ancestor, what happened? Within the Tianjian Shengdi, there's almost nothing that could make the Sword Saint Old Ancestor take action personally. But when he glanced at the empty jade bowl, his pupils constricted, and his 10,000 years of peace vanished. UTF entered the treasure pavilion before. Tianjian Shengju questioned sternly. Chen Enji frowned tightly, cupping his hands and said, "Master, a few Tianjiao who went with this disciple have entered here before, with guts as big as the heavens, daring to touch the things in your treasure pavilion without permission. Where are they?" Just as Tianjin Shengju was about to explode, Sword God Laozu finally spoke. Could it be that someone sneaked into the treasure pavilion and stole the Wan Nian Wu Yu? Sword God Laozu glanced over the treasure pavilion and continued. Moreover, the other party's purpose is very clear. It is for this Wan Nian Wu Yu. Hearing this, Tianjian Shengju and Chen Anji couldn't help but gasp, their entire bodies breaking out in cold sweats. Someone had quietly sneaked into the sacred ground. The first reaction of the two was that Sword God Laozu was kidding. The Tianjian sacred ground is covered by a sacred level formation, and the treasure pavilion also has a sacred level formation. More importantly, there is also an old ancestor of the saint realm guarding the sacred ground. Even the ascension stage Laozu of the Changwu sacred ground could not quietly enter the treasure pavilion and steal spiritual treasures. Could it be a saint king? But why would a Saint King sneak into the Tianjian sacred ground just for a Wannian Wu Yu? For a moment, Tianjian Shengzhu felt his chest as if weighed down by a large rock, making it difficult to breathe. Regardless of who it was, the other party was able to sneak into the sacred ground and steal things right under the saint's guard without leaving a trace. This is a disaster for the Tianjian sacred ground. Pass down the order. No one is allowed to leak this matter. Violators will be killed without mercy. But Tianjian Shengzhu took a deep breath and ordered sternly. But he could silence the disciples of the sacred ground, but not Chen Beishuan. The matter of the Tianjian sacred ground being robbed spread throughout the Menghuang domain on the second day. Instantly, the entire Meng domain was in an uproar. Have you heard? The Tianjian sacred ground's treasure pavilion was robbed. Are you kidding me? The Tianjin sacred ground is a transcendent sacred ground of the Menghuang domain, and it also has a saint guarding it. Who can steal things right under the eyes of a saint? This is 100% true. I have a cousin who works as a menial disciple in the Tianjian sacred ground. It is said that what was lost was a Wannian Wu Yu. So it's true? The Tianjian sacred ground was robbed blind by a mysterious person who snuck in under the nose of the saint and stole the Wannian Wu Yu. Your news is too outdated. I've known it for a long time. That's right, a direct disciple of the Tianjian Sacred Hall told me himself. Tell me, how strong does that mysterious person have to be to make even a saint unable to detect him? The Tianjian Shengdi got robbed and no one knows who the thief is yet. Quit the cap, old man. Who's got the guts to do that? Dare to pull the tiger's whiskers, are we? Why would I lie to you? The Tianjian Shengzhu himself admitted it. The news is spreading like wildfire, reaching every corner of Menghuangyu in a single day. A Tianjin Shengdi with a saint guarding it got infiltrated and robbed of their Wannian Wu Yu silently. This is nothing short of a complete humiliation for the Tianjian Shengdi. Rumble. From within the Tianjin Shengdi's Jianshan Hall, a terrifying aura explodes from the Tianjin Shengzhu, shattering his chair into dust. How arrogant, just utterly arrogant. Stealing the Wannian Wu Yu and then spreading the news around. Does he really think we, the Tianjin Shengdi, are pushovers? The Tianjian Shengzhu's face is so dark it's practically dripping ink. In the tens of thousands of years since the establishment of the Holy Land, this is the first time something this shameful has happened. Has the old ancestor figured out who stole the Holy Land's treasures yet? This disciple wants to personally hack him to pieces and hang his corpse at the gates of the Holy Land to wash away this humiliation. The Tianjin Shengzhu grinds his teeth as he speaks. On the highest platform, the Jianshen Laozu's tightly closed eyes slowly open, his expression still unreadable. Having cultivated to his realm, not just anything can stir his emotions. The thief isn't a saint, let alone a saint king. The Jianshen Laozu speaks slowly. The Tianjin Shengzhu scoffs. He knew no saint or saint king would stoop so low. The perpetrator most likely possesses a saint artifact that conceals their aura, making it so that even this old man couldn't detect the saint artifact concealing their aura. The Tianjian Shengzhu is stunned. In this Menghuangyu, besides our Tianjian Shengdi and the Shangwu Shengdi, what other saints are there? But before he can finish his sentence, he suddenly realizes, his eyes blazing with anger. The Tianjiga had a saint artifact appear 2 days ago, shaking the entire Menghuangyu. The Tianjin Shengzhu suspect this is related to the Tianjige, especially since the Holy Land's Wannian Wu Yu went missing immediately after the saint artifact appeared. These two things are likely connected. Could it be the Tianjige? This old man will find out with a single question. I was originally planning to let him run around for a few more days, but he dared to mess with this old man. Then this old man will have to see what kind of... With those words, an unparalleled surge of sword intent erupted from Jianshen Laozu. The sword intent solidified into a genuine spirit sword, instantly tearing through the void and hurling toward Tianjige. Meanwhile, Chen Bishan, who was humming on his way back to Tianjige, immediately composed himself. Stepping into the innermost chamber of the pavilion, I was bowing my head, practicing calligraphy, seemingly aware of Chen Beishuan's return. I paused my hand's movement, looked up and asked with a smile, "Did you acquire the Wannian Wu Yu?" Reporting, Gazu, I did not fail your expectations. Chen Beishuan stood before me, completely devoid of the arrogance and conceit he displayed at Tianjian Shengdi. Very good, and it seems you've gained other treasures as well. I set down my brush, gently blowing on the ink on the Xuancheng paper. On this, Chen Bishuan's eyelids twitched violently, and he hurriedly retrieved 2 spirit herbs, tens of thousands of years old, from his storage ring. Indeed, nothing in this world can be hidden from Gaju. These are 2 spirit herbs I picked from Zulongzhong, just casually took them along. Discovering that 2 20,000-year-old spirit herbs could be exchanged for 40,000 TNG points. Spirit herbs tens of thousands of years old are rare, but their value still doesn't compare to saint-grade spirit herbs. However, I merely glanced at them without accepting. I simply said calmly, "Both the Wannian Chang Qingting and the Qingyang fruit are beneficial to your cultivation. Keep them. Having decided to use Chen Beishuan, I won't discourage you for the sake of a few Tianji points. One must have a grand vision. Fighting to the death for petty gains is truly beneath one's dignity." Seeing that I didn't force him to hand over the 2 spirit herbs, Chen Beishuan was slightly stunned. This earned him a bit more goodwill towards me. "Thank you, Geju. Go refine the Wannian Wu Yu at the Tiandian yourself. After you merge with its divine soul, I will give you a list to form the Tianji Way," I said with a gentle smile. Chen Beishuan nodded, cupped his hands, and was about to retreat, but just as he was about to leave, an astonished cry came from outside the pavilion. "Qian Bei." A moment later, a flustered figure burst into Tianjigi. The person who arrived was Bing Yuanzi, the Grand Elder of Bing Xuanzong. After leaving Zhulongzhong, he immediately returned to Bing Xuanzong to reconnect the ancient ice veins that had dried up for the sect. When he fully integrated the remains of Zhulong with Zhulong's essence blood, he learned that the Zhulongzhong secret realm had ended. This filled him with regret. Had he known, he would have come to Tianjige first to purchase the opportunity to harvest Zhulong's spirit fruit. Bei Bingyanzi burst into Tianjige, his eyes welling up with tears as he saw me. However, when his gaze swept over Chen Beishuan standing beside me, especially the azure flower in his hand, his eyelids twitched uncontrollably, his legs faltering. Almost 8 shot right there. Bing Yuanzi casually strolling on the road. Turns out the Wanyan Wu Yu from Tianjin Holy Land gacked, and now it's chilling in Tianji Pavilion. Wait, did this guy sneak into Tianjin Holy Land? Is this the dude who stole the spirit herb right under the saint's nose? Bing Yuanzi gives Chen Beishuan the scan, notices he's just Wufu realm. Bro is even more shook. Rumor had it, a saint or even a Saint King stole the Wanyan Wu Yu. But turns out the real thief is just some Wufu realm scrub. You, fall back for a sec. I told Bing Yuanzi, chill as can be. Yes, Pavilion Master. Chen Beishuan also glances back at Bing Yuanzi before strolling into the main hall. Bing Yuanzi's heart skips a beat. Pupils shrink like a black hole. So, this Wufu realm cultivator could steal the Wanyan Wu Yu because of this senior. This senior can let a Wufu realm dude slip past a saint. Just what level of terrifying is this guy? Elder Bing, is the Bingshuan sect's ancient ice vein reconnected? Here to invite me to be a guest elder again, huh? Elder, huh? I ask, all playful. Hearing that, Bing Yuanzi's face flushes with embarrassment. With this senior's godlike skills, the Bingshuan sect is just a tiny blip on the radar. Senior, please don't tease this junior. I spoke like an idiot before, please don't hold it against me. Bing Yuanzi hastily clasps his hands with a forced smile. I wave my hand and a chair pops up behind Bing Yuanzi. Only then do I calmly ask, Elder Bing, what brings you here today? He's got some experience now. Bing Yuanzi isn't awkward like before. After settling down, he softly speaks, well, this junior wants to buy an opportunity to unlock my divine treasure. He's already at the peak of the crossing tribulation realm. Even though the ancient ice vein is reconnected, if he keeps cultivating, unlocking the divine treasure is basically guaranteed later on. It's just that when that opportunity will come is still a mystery. He wouldn't have cared before, but now that I have the opportunity available, who can resist? Want an opportunity to unlock your divine treasure? I look at Bing Yuanzi. His info floats in front of me. Nothing's changed except his wish is now to unlock his divine treasure. Senior, I understand the rules. See if these spirit herbs and materials are worth enough? Bing Yuanzi grinned, pulling out 5 jade boxes from his storage ring. 3 held spirit herbs tens of thousands of years old, and the other 2 held Zhulong scales. So the 3 200,000-year-old spirit herbs are worth 60,000 points of heavenly mystery, and the Zhulong materials are worth 20,000 points. Grand total, 80,000 points. Seems like our boy Bing Yuanzi is dead set on opening his divine treasury. I thought to myself, time to search for a suitable opportunity for Bing Yuanzi to unlock his divine treasury. There are 390 locations in total, including Hingtian Palace, but it costs 10 million heavenly mystery points to see the specifics. Sheesh! Aochi Holy Land wants 8 million points just for a peek. Scrolling through, I couldn't help but click my tongue. These familiar Holy Lands always pop up when I'm looking for opportunities. The price they demand is absolutely insane. Just how strong are these Holy Lands that they can hoard so many heavenly opportunities? Tianjin Holy Land only wants 40,000 heavenly mystery points to see the specific. Cheap! When I saw the last bit of info, I was a little stunned. The Tianjin Holy Land again? Didn't they just lose a myriad-year worry-free flower? Now they're offering Bing Yuanzi a divine treasury opening opportunity? I'm actually starting to feel bad for Tianjin Holy Land at this point. Wang, just as I was about to check out other opportunities, it's like I sensed something. I suddenly looked up, and a split second later, a razor-sharp sword beam tore through space. It suddenly plunged into the floor of the Heavenly Mystery Pavilion. The spirit sword appeared, and a wild sword intent swept across, as if wanting to cut the heavens and earth apart. Feeling this terrifying sword intent, Bing Yuanzi's face changed drastically, and his body was sent flying. When Bing Yuanzi turned back, the spirit sword gradually vanished, condensing into an old man with crane-like hair and a rosy complexion. The old man had sword-like eyebrows and bright eyes, with his hands behind his back. Just standing there made him look like a sharp sword that could pierce the heavens and earth, making people afraid to look directly at him. When he clearly saw the old man's appearance, Bing Yuanzi's legs went weak and he felt like collapsing, especially feeling a trace of dignified aura emanating from the old man. Holy Sword God Ancestor, one of the 2 saints of the Monghuang domain. He cultivates the Sword Dao, the one with the strongest offensive power, the ancestor of the Tianjian Holy Land. This guy has so much clout that Bing Yuanzi is only qualified to bow down. But why would someone like him appear in the Heavenly Mystery Pavilion? Anyone who isn't brain-dead can tell that this saint isn't here for tea and crumpets. Could it be that the Heavenly Mystery Pavilion has some kind of beef with this saint? After the Sword God Ancestor appeared, his sword-like eye swept around, glanced over Bing Yuanzi, and finally landed on me. Are you the pavilion? Jian Shlaozu coldly spoke, his tone devoid of emotion. Trespassing into the Tianji Pavilion without permission isn't a wise move. I glanced at Jian Shin Laozu, sipped my green tea, and said nonchalantly, seemingly unconcerned, "The one standing before you isn't a saint. Wanran Wuyu, send him out, and come to the Tian Holy Land to atone for your sins yourself." This old man can pretend this never happened. Jian Shen Laozu disregarded my impoliteness, continuing to speak as if issuing an order. To this I scoffed, turning to look at Bing Yuanzi. "The Kai Fu Shenzong opportunity, I can tell you about it." I waved my hand, collecting the 5 jade boxes before me, converting them into Tianji points, while Bing Yuanzi was left between tears and laughter, unable to suppress the fear in his heart, not daring to respond. "Senior, is now really the time to discuss the Kai Fu Shenzong opportunity. Standing before you is a saint, you know. Searching for the Tianjian Holy Lands opportunity will deduct 40,000 Tianji points. Search successful. Within the Tianjian Holy Lands Treasure Pavilion lies a piece of Yuming Shun Bing Sui, capable of aiding Bing Yuanzi in opening his Fu Shenzong. Note: the Tian to the loss of Wannian Wuyao has entered a state of comprehensive alert. For infiltration methods, click to view details." Seeing the system's introduction, the corners of my mouth slightly lifted. Initially, I didn't plan to continue provoking the Tianjian Holy Land. After all, it's an ancient holy land of the Monghuang region. While the Tianji Pavilion and my own strength haven't developed, direct confrontation should be avoided, but since Jian Shen Laozu is being so considerate, how can I not teach him a lesson worthy of his long journey? To the Tianji Pavilion as a guest. I inscribed the information onto a jade slip and directly tossed it to Bing Yuanzi. Immediately after, I raised my head to look directly at Jian Shen Laozu, a radiant smile on my face as I said, "I've heard of the Tianjin Holy Land possessing a piece of Yu Ming Xuan Bing. It's an excellent item for opening the Fu Shenzang. Elder Bing, please feel free to go and take it." Bing Yuanzi, who had just received the jade slip and hadn't even had time to rejoice, heard my words. His hand trembled, causing the jade slip to fall straight to the ground, his entire body going limp. At this moment, Bing Yuanzi looked at me, then turned to look at Jian Shen Laozu, nearly bursting into tears. "Senior, please don't harm me. This opportunity being in the Tianjian Holy Land, let's just forget about it. The Saint Laozu of the Tianjian Holy Land is standing right in front of you." What do you mean by saying these words in front of Jian Shen Laozu? Isn't this the same as sending a declaration of war to a saint, to a transcendent holy land? I'm just a small tribulation transcendence stage cultivator. If there's a fight, I'm the one who'll get hurt. Jian Shen Laozu's expression at this moment was extremely gloomy. Within the space, the sound of swords rang out incessantly. Me saying those words in front of him, the meaning within couldn't be clearer. It's just that Jian Shen Laozu's words were yet to be uttered. So peep this, I lightly caressed the teacup's rim, flicked a single drop of tea, and boom, that little green droplet just tore through the freaking void. Faster than you can say face slap, it pierced right through the sword god ancestor's eyebrows. Boom! The sword god ancestor's body starts spasming hard before exploding, revealing just a remnant soul. "Come talk to me when your main body gets here," I said, all chill-like. Meanwhile, Bing Yuanzi is watching the sword god ancestor fade away, gulping harder than a goldfish out of water. His brain? Totally fried. Zero. All he knows is that the freaking sky in the desolate wasteland domain is about to change. "Senior," Bing Yuanzi finally snaps back to reality, grabs the jade slip off the ground, and yeah, no doubt about it. But right now that jade slip feels like a scorching hot potato. He's practically begging to toss it. "Senior, could we maybe swap for a different opportunity?" Yuanzi takes a deep breath, cautiously probing, because ain't no way he's got the guts to steal underworld profound ice marrow under a saint's freaking nose. That if it was just him, whatever. No baggage, but he's got the ice mystic sect on his shoulders. Tens of thousands of disciples, remember? If the Heavenly Sword Holy Land's underworld profound ice marrow goes missing, guess who's getting the blame? The ice mystic sect. And without a saint to guard them, they're totally screwed against the Heavenly Sword Holy Land. Bing Yuanzi throws a nervous glance my way, wondering if rejecting this senior is going to bring a freaking apocalypse down on the ice mystic sect. Sure, whatever. The Heavenly Secrets Pavilion values its reputation, so no forced sales here. I give Bing Yuanzi a chill smile, like casually sending a freaking declaration of war to a saint never happened. But that smile, it sends Bing Yuanzi's heart into overdrive. A sliver of madness starts to bloom in his soul. The desolate wasteland domain, the 2 major holy lands hog 80% of the resources. The other sects are fighting over scraps. Those 2 saints are like 2 massive mountains, crushing them for 10,000 years. But now this mysterious Heavenly Secrets Pavilion is rising. Why not gamble? If he wins, he can unlock the divine treasury, maybe even become a saint himself. He loses, well, the 2 holy lands were going to wipe out the ice mystic sect sooner or later anyway. High risk, high reward. This crazy idea takes root, digs in deep, and twists Bing Yuanzi's face into a grimace. A moment later, Bing Yuanzi's face suddenly goes calm. He seems to have made a decision and says in a deep voice, "Hold up, senior. Scratch that deal. I'm willing to take a trip to the Tianjian Holy Land." Seeing the resolve in Bing Yuanzi's eyes, I was a little surprised and casually asked, "You sure about that, my guy?" "Yes, it is I, Bing." Yuanzi nodded like his life depended on it and continued, "But before that, I want to buy one more thing from you, senior." I already knew what this dude was going to ask, so I snapped my fingers and another jade slip landed in front of Bing Yuanzi. This formation is called the Wanlong Shi Hun formation, using the remains of a Zhulong as the formation eye. As long as the remains don't decay, the formation will last forever. It can protect your sect and keep it safe and sound. Consider it a gift, homie. This is a freebie from last time we calculated the Zhulong's opportunity, no need to spend more Tianji points. Looking at the jade slip in front of him, Bing Yuanzi was stunned. The Wanlong Shihun formation? Isn't that the Saint Tier formation that covers the Zhulong pit? Bing Yuanzi had personally experienced this Saint Tier formation. Its terror was so intense, not even a saint could break it. So Senior has already prepared everything? If I had asked to change the opportunity just now, wouldn't I have missed this Saint Tier formation? So I bet right, huh? Holding the two jade slips, Bing Yuanzi was overjoyed, unable to contain the happiness in his heart, and immediately cupped his hands and said, "Thank you, Senior, for bestowing the formation. Please wait for my news." With that, Bing Yuanzi bowed and took his leave. After Bing Yuanzi left, I stood up, put my hands behind my back, strode out of the Tianji Pavilion, and gazed into the distance. The Tianjian Holy Land, huh? Even though I was mentally prepared, the rise of the Tianji Pavilion would definitely not be smooth sailing. If you touch the interests of those in power, you will inevitably encounter resistance. It's just unexpected that we'd clash so soon, already making an enemy of one of the transcendent holy lands of the Mongwang domain. One side has a deep foundation, a transcendent holy land that has dominated the Mongwang domain for tens of thousands of years. The other side has a newly emerging reputation. The Tianji Pavilion has not yet truly taken root in people's hearts. Looks like things are getting more interesting. The corners of my mouth slightly curled up. Even when facing the Tianjian Holy Land, I felt no pressure, but instead excitement. The current task is to improve my strength and establish the Tianji guards, first sowing the seeds of the Tianji Pavilion throughout the Monghuang domain. My future journey will not only... Thinking about this, my heart stirred slightly. I opened the system interface, adding the previous balance. The Tianji points had long exceeded 80,000. I can buy the second layer of Wu Shijing. Ding. Consuming 50,000 Tianji points, successfully purchased the second layer of Wu Shijing. Can now cultivate to the peak Daogong realm. In the next moment, I only felt a massive surge of memories flood into my mind. The spiritual qi in my body also autonomously circulated according to the Wu Shijing's path. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Along with the circulation of spiritual qi, the whole world suddenly shook violently. Spiritual qi within 200 miles violently stirred, madly converging into my body. Due to the speed being too fast, the volume too large, to the point where a giant vortex visible to the naked eye formed in the sky above the Tianji Pavilion. The space around the vortex twisted, dark clouds gathered covering the entire sky. Suddenly, countless lightning bolts fell like waterfalls from the sky, converging into a giant illusory figure. This illusory figure carried a large gourd on its back, borne with 6 arms, each hand holding a long spear condensed from lightning. Its face was fierce and terrifying like a god. Such a large commotion was naturally noticed by Bing Yuanzi, who hadn't gone too far yet. Catching sight of that lightning god illusory image, when he turned his head, his pupils contracted and he directly knelt down. If the saint's aura felt on the sword god ancestor was a majesty that made people not dare to look directly at it, then what was felt on this lightning god illusory image was pure destruction. Pure power. This is the unique aura of a god. But this very Lei Shen, standing between heaven and earth, had to bow his head when facing the small figure standing in front of the Tianji Pavilion. A god bowed his head? This is the phenomenon born when the senior cultivates? Bing Yuanzi muttered in his mouth. Just what kind of strength does one have to cause such a terrifying phenomenon? Bing Yuanzi couldn't imagine it, and didn't dare to imagine it, but he knew that this big gamble of his was definitely the right bet. The taking me back, no, the Wanlong Shihun formation must immediately go to the Heavenly Sword Holy Land. Absolutely can't let the senior down. Bing Yuanzi clenched his fist, stood up with difficulty, bowed towards the Tianji Pavilion. His figure flashed and disappeared on the spot. While I was breaking through in the Heavenly Sword Holy Land, the sword god ancestor suddenly opened his eyes wide, his saint aura erupting, enveloping the entire main hall within. Sensing the extremely angry aura radiating from their ancestor, the faces of the Heavenly Sword Holy Lord and the others greatly changed, and they hurriedly knelt down, not daring to breathe loudly. What's going on? Didn't the ancestor go to scout out the Tianji Pavilion? Why is this dude so triggered? Wait, is that the old ancestor? Tianjin Shengzhu barely lifts his head, sweating bullets like he's in a final exam. You know a guy's a saint for a reason. Their power and mental state are already at the peak of cultivation. Duh. Can't even imagine what happened to make a saint lose his cool this badly. A moment later, Jianshan Laozu takes a deep breath, calms down, but that gloomy look still shows the rage burning inside him. Some leftover soul fragments? They're not worthy enough to judge a Tianji gay. Before those soul bits scattered, my voice kept echoing in his ears. A freaking saint, no less. Since when did some junior dare to look down on him like that? Challenging a saint's authority is a first for him in tens of thousands of years. But even though he's fuming, Jianshan Laozu hasn't completely lost it. The fact that I shattered his spirit with a drop of tea proves the other guy's strength is on par with his. A saint popping up out of nowhere after all that rage? Jianshan Laozu's brow furrows. How could a saint secretly appear in the Mongguang region? Laozu, what happened? Anshan Laozu retracts his aura. Tianjian Shengzhu and the elders all breathe a sigh of relief. Unable to hold back their curiosity, they ask, the Tianji Gee's master told Laofu he wants to steal the Yuming Xuanbing Sui? Jianshan Laozu keeps it short and sweet, but those words hit Tianjian Shengzhu and the crew like a lightning bolt. The Tianji Gaze master dared to say that to Jianshan Laozu's face? Is he throwing down the gauntlet with a saint? Where did he even get the guts? This guy's not simple. His strength isn't weaker than mine. Just as Tianjian Shengju was about to say something sarcastic, Jianshan Laozu coldly says his strength isn't weaker than Laozu's. So are you saying the Tianji Gaze master is also a freaking saint? Tianjian Shengju's lips move, but he can't bring himself to say it. Those two words seem to have some kind of magic. No one wants to get on the wrong side of a saint, not even the deeply rooted Tianjian Shengdi. Below a saint, all our ants isn't just a saying. The elders all shut up, and no one's yelling anymore about using the Holy Land's power to crush the enemy. Only a saint can beat a saint. But in Menghuang region, we still got Kangwu Holy Ground lurking around like hyenas. If Sword God Old Ancestor kicks the bucket, then Heaven Sword Holy Ground is about to be in deep doo-doo. How about we eat the underworld mystic ice marrow out of the vault and have the Old Ancestor personally guard it? No way the Heaven Secret Pavilion's leader can pull teeth from a saint's mouth, right? An elder suggested. Hold up, Heaven Sword Holy Master snapped. Doing that is basically admitting we're scared. If word gets out about Heaven's Secret Pavilion, where does that leave our Holy Ground's rep? Case closed. Sword God Old Ancestor, watching the squabble below, quietly said, "This old man will personally guard the vault and see what tricks that Heaven's Secret Pavilion leader has up his sleeve." Sword God Old Ancestor has spoken. The elders below could only agree. In the next few days, Heaven Sword Holy Ground entered an unprecedented state of alert, like they were about to face Hoa Diet Mon. 2 holy tier formations fully activated. Holy Ground disciples rotated patrols. Sword God Old Ancestor went even further, personally guarding the vault, making its defenses as impenetrable as an iron wall. Not even a mosquito could sneak in. I seriously can't imagine anyone bypassing these layers of security to quietly steal the underworld mystic ice marrow. Heaven Sword Holy Master stood before the main hall, took a deep breath, and said solemnly, "The net is cast, now we wait for the fish to bite." Only this wait lasted 7 whole days. After 7 days, Bing Yuanzi secretly appeared before the gates of Heaven Sword Holy Ground. Holy tier formations. Truly holy tier formations. Even with the detailed formation info I gave him, it still took him 7 days. Underworld mystic ice marrow, huh? Bing Yuanzi looked up at the Heaven Sword Holy Ground, beautiful as a fairyland. Even before getting close, he could sense the danger lurking within. He instinctively clenched the white jade pendant in his hand. This is the Taishu Mystic Jade Pendant I lent him before he left. Hopefully it works. Bing Yuanzi activated this half-step holy artifact, carefully memorizing the movement methods within the Jade Scroll, etching them into his brain. With the determination to risk it all, he stepped into Heaven Sword Holy Ground. Time slowly passed. The atmosphere within Heaven Sword Holy Ground remained extremely